gonna start TikTok and we're gonna go from there. Okay, so actually, this is our screen. There we go. Man, why does the TikTok thing always keep moving around? Every single time I come in here, I have to keep shifting these things around. Because for some reason, lock. Go live. All right, baby, we are going live. Go live. TIK. No, not TikTok. YouTube. LinkedIn. Twitter. Formerly known as X. My channel. Live. There we go. Yep, I think we're live now. Solving the problem. Reconcile an invoice. That was the thing that I was going after. Gifts suspended. Yo, what's happening, man? Wagwan. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my TikTok thingy. Keep getting some sort of notice that I'm being banned every single time. Thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate it. Trying to jump on here and do my thing. Hang on, we're almost there. We're almost there. Almost there. It's always a little bit of rough getting started. I'm actually late today as well, too. Let's see. Oh, TikTok chat. Here we go. How's it going, Mr. Delgato X? Man, you guys are fantastic. I got one person in here. I've already gotten 203 hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. Still struggling with all this live stuff. Trying to figure out how to keep, my sanity with all the different things that you have to do just to go live. But yeah, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I had a pretty good week. I had a productive week. Been building and launching stuff. Okay, we're live on Twitter. I think I'm live on YouTube as on LinkedIn too, but I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, no, I'm doing fantastic. I had a pretty good week. I had so I'm launching my new app, and it's in the works. It's been a painful process to getting it to where it's at right now, but finally it's starting to take shape, and so I'm pretty excited about that. I'll share some stuff about that today. But doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Refresh your memory. Where are you calling in from? Where are you from? I keep forgetting the locations of people. But SC, okay, gotta give you South Carolina, maybe, yeah, I think, or South Africa. I'm just kidding. South Carolina, cool, man, cool. When was I there? I was in South Carolina. Geez, a while back now, maybe 3 years ago or something like that. For damn. Myrtle Beach. Yeah, am I getting that right? Yes, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Mertlebeach. I think that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. Yeah, yeah. That's where it was. Yeah, love that place. Amazing. So anyway, I was down there for vacation. Man, I'm forgetting now. At least 3 years has gone now. And there was a place. Oh, I got to tell you about this. Oh, what was the name of it? It was Myrtle Beach, and it was called uh something tuna fish restaurant. Was it that? Wicked Tuna. There we go. Oh, this place was amazing, and I heard it was shut down. I heard it was shut down, and I was so like upset because the scallops here and what was the thing that I had? The breakfast. Oh my goodness! Like to this day, this place I have not topped. So I'm a big fan of eggs Benedict, and this place by far had the best egg Benedict ever. Like I just I'm like, damn, it's just good. So encourage your viewers to share and invite more. Okay, yeah, it's just TikTok. Yeah, no. So anyway, I this is my claim to fame that I know South Carolina. I don't, but yeah, no, that's cool. Whereabouts in South SC are you? South Carolina. Do, do. All right, I think I got all the lives up and running. We got the Twitter. Let me just make sure my Twitter, Twitch. All right. SC in the house. Great, 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 great. All right, I think my channel here is live also. Perfect. Yeah, there we go. Okay, go we go. Okay, we're cooking on all cylinders. So the only thing I don't have now is my LinkedIn. So that's next week's challenge. Get LinkedIn going. My live stream on LinkedIn because I've been trying to figure out how to do that, and I don't think it's working. So anyway, welcome guys. Welcome in. We got a couple people in the house, literally, but welcome in. We're gonna let people trickle in. I want to talk about a few things. Oh, I'm live. Oh no, I'm actually live on LinkedIn. Yeah, yeah, we're live. Look at that. We're live on LinkedIn too. Bam. Amazing. We're streaming across all platforms. I think that's a first today because I got linked. I got Instagram going. I got YouTube. We got LinkedIn. We got Twitter. We got Twitch, and we got TikTok. That's a first. That's a first. Listen, the one thing that they tell you is that if you're gonna learn something, you just gotta throw yourself in the deep end. And this is definitely one of those cases where I've just been throwing myself in the deep end. When I started doing this live stream, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I just pressed the button and I was like, "Oh, I'm live. Okay, I'm just gonna just start talking." So yeah, we've come a long way. I spent a little bit of time last week trying to get things a little bit more set up, so I feel like I'm a little more dialed in today. But just getting started is kind of always rough. But yeah, we'll let people kind of slowly trickle in and things. So what are you working on, Mr. Delgato? What are you working on these days? What's your app of choice? Are you just working on work stuff? Or you got an app that you're working on? You got a business? What's on your agenda these days? Talk to me. I'm trying to make some notes today on people because I'm forgetting. Productivity apps. Okay. Like to-do lists, or we're talking a little more advanced than that? Delgato. I gotta start making notes on you guys when I think, because I'm forgetting. It's so many people, and it's so many people. I was like, just for me, it's a lot of people. I could only imagine how those people have like hundreds of people going their lives. Is crazy. So productivity apps. I know you did mention this, but refresh my memory. What type of productivity app are you building? more advanced, trying to compete with Notion. Oh, okay. So you're like deep on the deep end. Notion, Tion. Got you. Um, it's engineering focus. Got you. Okay, so let me see if I can make some guesses, and you tell me if I'm going in the right direction. So engineering focus, Notion, helping you to sort of like keep track of projects, requirements, action items, task list. So sitting kind of like a hybrid between like a Atlassian, Jira, and a Notion kind of deal. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. 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 Yeah, this is definitely a space that has some challenges. Okay, so here's one for you. So because I've been thinking about this, I don't know if it's within your wheelhouse. So right now, like literally right now, we got support tickets that come in for SnapSuite, and one of the things that I haven't done this as yet, but this is what I'm thinking about. So I got a bug report. Okay, so the bug report is set up so that whichever page you're on, you click on the bug report or you click on the bug, it takes a screenshot right away. You say what your problem is. So you say, hey, my problem is this application is not loading properly and it's broken, etc. Right? You press send and that's it. Right? And we already know who you are because you're already logged in and we know everything. So it just comes straight into support. Right now, it just comes in by support via email. But now the AI has gotten so good that what I've been doing is I've literally just been copying the description of the support ticket, and I've just been going into VS Code and copy the screenshot, paste it in on the right repository, and it just knows what to do. Like 90% of the time, where the tickets now, I don't have to go into the details. So I'm like, damn, this thing is really good. Like I literally have not actually done like I actually just before this live, I literally just fixed like 5 tickets, no exaggeration. I know I did the work before, but I responded to them just now. So I was like, well, if we can do this already, why not have the ticket go straight into a repository system? So I got 2 layers that I'm thinking about right now. Number one, first layer is first of all, it knows the customer. It knows what services I've done with the customer. Okay, it already has sort of a full-on details about the customer. So that part is given. Number two, it knows the modules that I have that the customer has access to. So the features that it has access to. So all that information is thing. And then number three is you would have sort of a service that kind of evaluate what this ticket is about and what module to give some more fill-in details. Take that information and send it straight into GitHub, okay, and kick off an actual task with Codex or pick your favorite LLM model in this particular case, right? Because GitHub, I'm sure you know this, but I'm just saying it anyway. GitHub has a you could go into any project now and you could kick off a task, right? So for example, let's say I got this guy here, right? So this is my mono repo. Right, and I could go to, let's say I could go to projects, and I can go to, oh no, I don't have projects in here, hang on, I could go to this level, I could go to projects, and I can go to this, and then I could go to a ticket, any ticket, right? And then down here, you can literally just say if I add Copilot, it's not on this one here, but anyway, you get the idea. I can add Copilot, here, assign to Copilot, right? On the left-hand side here, on the right-hand side. So I can assign this ticket to Copilot right now. So my thought process is, well, if you can do that, and I'm not even certain if you can do it with the API, but you should be able to. It's literally one small glue for you to be able to trigger a support ticket straight into GitHub and have it start working on that task immediately so that the developer basically just sees a pull request. And then they could go through it and review it and then make any changes, etc. Right? But I was like, you know what? I'm 100% going to think about this because I think this is, in fact, I'm going to build it. So you should, if you're in this space and you're thinking about this problem, this is one of them that you should really think about for sure because we've gotten to a place where the AI is just so good now that it could at least, so maybe it's not going to think about all of the issues, but it definitely will get you like 90% there in terms of thinking through the problem and getting you some preliminary, if not code, at least sort of like the full on, workflow that you need to be thinking about so you could go through. So yeah, check that out for sure, man. I'd be interested to see where you kind of land with it, because it's a space that for sure, like, it's no question, it's the obvious thing to do now, at least from my perspective, at least at this particular point. All right. So I'd be curious to see how you're solving that. But I'll if I do anything, and not if, when I do anything there, I'll definitely keep you posted on it, because um now what I'm doing, so this is what I'm doing now. All of my guys that do like the reports and stuff, I literally get them to just be extremely detailed with the reports. So I could just copy and paste the report into the AI model to get it done. And then I'm just monitoring to make sure it's doing the right thing. Like, that's the extent of my programming these days, which is insane. It's just crazy to believe, right? So we're definitely just, the productivity gain is just off the charts. And more importantly, like, I trust the code that it's doing, because I've worked with it enough times now that I actually am like, yeah, no, this is, I don't have to review this to the level of degree that I did in the past. So yeah, cool. Notion killer. So what's the differentiating factor? Like, what's the, if I had to ask you a question about, like, what's a thing that you're thinking about that's going to make it unique? Is it the AI portion of it? It's just rethinking it from an AI perspective. Is that what you're thinking about? Yeah. And while you're doing that, we're gonna chat a little bit about. So okay. So anyway, welcome. By the way, if you're new here and you've never seen me before, I gotta do my little intro spiel. You don't know who I am. My name is Dwayne, and I'm the founder of a few software companies now, quite a few. So SnapSuite is like my main sort of like core system, and I have another software that I'm trying to get off the ground called Lead Score, which we'll talk about, which is a lead generation application. Of course, I can't log in. Why would I be able to log in? And just been around the block 20 years now doing software development, and so decided to spend some of my time connecting with the community, trying to share ideas, help other people build. My only mission and goal is to help you avoid some of the mistakes that I've done in my development, so that you can do this faster than it took me. That's my mission right now. That's what I'm committed to. Some AI, but allow for better uh, um, engineer calculation. Is that what I'm getting at? Yeah, diagrams, analysis. Got you. Okay, so more in the business. Um, how would I say? Yeah, business analysis, business management side of things. Got you. Several of the current tools are still desktop based. Got you. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this is it's. Listen, 100% certain you're barking up the right tree for sure. Because you know, actually, another example I'll give you right off the top, because you mentioned, our desktop based. So I had to go drop my wife. Just she's going away for the weekend. Yay! So I had to drop her, and she's going across the border to the U.S. actually. And as a result of that, I left the AI doing some work for me. And while I was heading there, I was like, man, if I could only connect to my computer and test it. Now, I know how to connect to my computer. I have remote desktop systems. I could do that. But it would be nice if I just got a notification on my phone of what the AI has completed, so I could just tell it to do the next thing. And this is kind of the premise of OpenClaw, right? Which is this idea that you could step away from your computer and still have a chat with it. And I really, really like that model. The thing that I don't know how to do yet, because I haven't actually explored it in depth as yet, is can I get my OpenClaw to interact with my VS Code? Because that's like the ultimate unlock for me. Because right now, the world that I'm sitting in is I want to be able to walk away from my computer, but I just want to be able to talk to my VS Code while I left it actually doing real work for me. And then when the results gets tunneled back to the chat so I could look at it and be like, yeah, no, fix this, move this around, do this kind of deal. Okay, cool. Send it back, let it go. The AI just kind of continues its task. So several recurrent tools thing. So yeah, this is my thought process. So, but yeah, you're barking up the right tree, man. The productivity gains that we can get from AI now, you definitely want to it's a ripe time to kind of rethink all of the different platforms and tools and stuff like that. So kudos to you. Kudos to you. Good stuff. All right. What else we got? Let's see. Who else is around? Oh, you know what? I forgot to do. I keep forgetting to message my thing. Thanks for the thumbs up on YouTube, by the way. I keep forgetting to send out my notification on my live. And by the way, if you're new here and you haven't joined my Skool community, please do. We're slowly growing. I'm going to be spending more time with it. I've just been deep in programming, so I haven't been in here a lot engaging, but promise to kind of step that up. But in the meantime, for the new people that are kind of new to the Skool community, or sorry, just want to learn about vibe coding and stuff like that, jump in here. I got a half course on Cloudflare, and you can engage with some of the community members, etc. I just want to message people, let everybody know them. Hey guys, I'm live. Talking about what are we talking about today? About scaling apps. Hey guys, just letting you know I'm live, and we're going to be talking about scaling your vibe coding app and talk about some of the hidden things that they don't tell you about when you're building a startup. Come join me. Keep forgetting to do this every time. Okay, 1 second. Add, and then let's go clean this up. La 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 la. OpenClaw can work on VS Code. Clean this up for me. Mr. AOL, good to see you again, man. OpenClaw can work on VS Code, but it's not native VS Code extension or replacement ID. OpenClaw connects to your files, terminal, API. So, okay, I take it you got some experience with this now. Because I know it can use Claw and it could use the computer directly, because that I understand. I want to make sure that it's going through the VS Code chat interface, if that makes sense, right? Because the reason why I want to do that is because this is where not just I'm most comfortable with right now, is that I've honed in the I don't know how to describe it, the feeling, if that makes sense, right? Like I know what it's going to do is what I'm getting at, right? Like when I'm in my VS Code now, I understand the capabilities very, very well, just because I've just been iterating for a while now, and I'm like, okay, I know what it's going to do. I have an understanding, right? Like yesterday, I think was the only day where I had some issues, and it just wasn't solving it, and I recognized that it was because my context was just way too large. But I switched over to from Opus 3 for Open 4.6 to 4. To Codex 5.3, and you know what? It just plugged away, it solved the problem, and then that was it, right? So that's interesting. I'm doing great, by the way. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Mr. AOL. Thanks for asking. Okay, hang on a second, guys. Gotta do one more thing. I need to turn down the heat in this. I'm burning up. It's one of those smoggy days outside. I came in, I cranked up the heat, and now I'm suffering. And now because all the lights and stuff like that, it gets hot in here. Slop maker. What's slop maker? Help me out, Mr. Oh, I can't pronounce your name. Chiropatin. What's slop maker? Okay, so let's talk about scaling. We got a couple technical people in the house, so let's push on some of the topics a little bit, right? We won't do the entry level stuff too much today. We're gonna talk about building some scalable stuff, and we'll talk about some real code because I'm working on a bunch of stuff right now. So I want to talk about some of the things that I'm working on. But like I said, if you're new here, join the community. I'll drop the link in the chat if you're asking, and we'll go from there. But I want to talk a little bit about scaling because these are some of the things that I'm running into right this minute. We just talked about just a little bit with uh, Delgato X. So I want to share just some ideas about some of the things that I I find is kind of a problem. So okay, actually one of the biggest ones that I have right now is so okay, let's start okay, let me just put some outlines of things that we're gonna talk about and then we'll just go touch them one by one. So make this a little bit bigger and zoom in a little bit. So first thing is like scaling. Scaling your vibe coding app. And well, it's more like Skype vibe coding a business app slash business. Because I don't want to just talk about the app portion. I want to talk about the business side of it, right? Like what I'm finding is a lot of you guys are kind of technical already, right? You know how to vibe code an app, but you're kind of struggling with the business side of things, and that's the differentiator for me here. Is like I really want to focus on helping you on the business side of it because it's one thing for you to build your app, it's another thing for you to actually get it off the ground and actually go get customers. So I'm always going to be focusing on this angle more than any single thing else, right? Um, so first things first is getting customers. Okay. Second thing is keeping customers. Let's put this in a different color so at least we could. So getting customers. Should I put this? Yeah, I should just do it like this. Second thing is keeping customers. And third is upselling customers. Okay, these are the three things I want to kind of focus on for a conversation, and I'll answer you guys questions as we kind of go through. But I want to really kind of stay focused on this mission here because these are the things that nobody teaches you, at least for me. Honestly, I just had to learn them the hard way. Now, there's people that don't get me wrong. There's always people teaching every single thing online, right? But the question is, at what cost? And it's definitely been a challenge for me to figure this out. Like it really, really has been a challenge, right? Customer acquisition and retention. That's what you want to know about. Mr. C Ants Stop Me Now. Or Can't Stop Me Now, sorry. That's funny. C Ants Stop Me Now. Push, pull, commit, but it's hard to get reach for sure. So yes. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that for sure. So okay, let me just make sure I'm just keeping up with the chat here. So stop maker. So but it's hard to get reach for sure. Yes, customer acquisition and retention. Yes, okay. So yes, customer acquisition and retention. That's exactly what it is. I'm just trying to make it basic for everybody on this live stream. But yeah, this is a real thing. Okay, so. Let me just get you guys off with a story, just so you understand my journey on this here, right? I'd really like to do that because then at least everybody can understand my growing pains with this type of stuff, and then at least you understand that like I understand the problem that you guys are gonna have, or at least are trying to solve. Come on, jeez, annoying. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so first of all, I remember, I swear on my life, okay, it was like, okay, you know what, we're not gonna get obsessed with that. So getting customers. So I remember, like, geez, I don't know, 10 years ago, okay, maybe about that. I remember specifically so I was living in Toronto. In downtown Toronto. I was looking through the window of my condo, and I remember specifically just looking out the window. I was like, how do you I don't know how to get customers. Like I know that there's people out there that want my service. I know that there's people that that need the stuff that I I'm building. I know this. This is not a like I'm not stupid. I know there's people that want. I just don't know how to find them. Like you know what I mean? Like I remember this specific thought process, and looking back at it, it was the hardest thing at the time because I built a product, and I'll tell you guys how I built my product. So my product, my SnapSuite product, the one that I talk about the most, and for people that don't know, I have a product called SnapSuite. It's a construction software, okay, that allows you to manage your jobs, projects, etc. Like I'm dealing with the construction people, okay? And I remember specifically, I was like, there's got to be people out there that need this stuff. I know this for sure. Now, how did I know this? Because purely by accident, I discovered this market, right? It wasn't like I just woke up one day and decided I was going to build. I just discovered it. And the way how I discovered it was, it's, hey, Bentley, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. So the way how I discovered it was I literally had a scale salesperson that was making a bunch of random calls because back then we were selling websites. All I was doing is just website. I was like, I know how to build websites. We're going to sell websites. We sold a bunch of websites, and one guy came to me and he said that he wanted to build a software to help him with his Excel spreadsheet. So I built it. Okay, we're not going to go into the details of that, but I built it, right? And when I built this software, the problem that I ran into is that I had one customer, and this one customer, like we kept growing and growing. It started out as like a $10,000 solution, and it just kept growing and growing. It turned into like a $500,000 solution, right? So it wasn't like I didn't know the problem that I was solving for. And I think most of you guys are in this space. You're either developers or you're builders or you're in like a subject matter expert. You have some experience in the thing that you're trying to solve for. So we're not talking about the people that don't know what they want to build, right? Like you guys kind of know what you want to build. The problem is that now that you know what you want to build, you're like deep trying to get it built, which is fine, but you haven't figured out how to go find the people that is going to use it, right? So that's what we're focusing on. That's what we're going to be drilling into for sure. And anyway, so I'm sitting on this balcony. I'm like looking out the window, and I'm like, yeah, how do I find my customers? Like, what do I do, right? And I swear, like, I started obsessing over this problem. I literally started obsessing over this problem. Hey, Mr. bitamerica.com. Good to see you. Let's explore together. Yeah, let's explore, man. So I literally started just, exploring, literally, like ways that I could try to find customers. And the truth is, I just struggled with it because I went to, I'm telling you what I did. I went to, the good news about things that Toronto has a lot of resources, okay? So I went to a program called Mars. It was like Mars DD, which is in Toronto. And it's a government program, and, it's a bunch of, for startups, quote unquote, okay? And I got into this. And the reason why I got into this, so this is actually the build it itself. And I got in here, and I remember applying, and the reason why I love Canada too, don't worry. Yeah, so the reason why I got in here was because everybody at the time told me, they were like, if you get into this startup, they'll teach you all the stuff that you need, and they're going to give you resources, and they're going to give you all kinds of stuff. And I did, because that's what people told me to do. And I joined, and honestly, I learned a lot from these guys. There was a couple of seminars, and there was a few workshops, like 3-4 months workshop. And it was just fantastic being to Toronto, but America is where it's at. Hey, you know what? I will take your money and I will stay in Canada. How about that? But I hear you. Yeah, listen, man. I'm still trying to get my U.S. passport because it's like the truth is, you got to, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So yeah, 100%. I hear you on that. So anyway, so I'm here. I'm trying to find all these tips and trips, and this was the first time, honestly, I learned this concept. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this concept. You must know this concept. Okay, we'll talk about it very briefly. So they were talking about the rise and the process of a startup. This is where I learned it. Okay, and they said if you're building a startup, this is the thing that happens to you, and then so this is how it would be described. You start your startup. Okay, You're like, I have an idea. Great. Okay. And then you start building and you're on this high and you build it. It's like, oh, this is great. Every single thing is going fine. And then you hit the top and then you start to plateau. Maybe you get one customer, maybe you get two customers, but then you start to plateau and you don't know what to do. And you start just going downhill, 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 and downhill. Not Jamaica, not Trinidad. Guess again. So you keep going downhill and then you keep going downhill. And the next thing you know, you're in this bottom pit and you're just stuck there. And this is where most startup founders, they just die. They literally just die. And actually, it's actually called the Valley of Despair. Guyana and Antigua. Born in Guyana, grew up in Antigua. So there you go. Okay, the crush. You're 100%. Don't die. So this is what happens. Okay, and this pit here, they got multiple names for it. Some people call it the Valley of Death. Okay, so some people call it the Valley of Death. The sort of like the quote unquote official. There's no official thing, right? But it's like I think it's called the Trough of Disillusion. And don't ask me to spell THROUGH. Trough of Disillusion. I don't know how to spell. Okay, whatever. Disillusion. So it's this pit where you go where it's just a valley of despair. Okay, so if I do THRUG of disillusion, okay. Dissolution. Okay, I have dyslexia, so every single thing is jumbled in my brain all the time. Okay, here. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. Okay, and basically, it's relevant. And the reason why this is relevant is because you're basically sitting here in frustration. Like this guy is a perfect example of it. Okay, you're sitting there and you're just frustrated because you don't understand how to actually find customers. And that's really the problem. If you don't understand how to find customers, then you can't get to the next level, right? Everybody understands this. I'm not telling you any single thing new here, but I'm just really reiterating this point that if you don't know how to solve this problem, you're done. Okay, it doesn't matter how fancy your product is, it doesn't matter what you build. If you can't solve the problem, you're 100% done. Pull commit says, my app is free. People like it when they try to use it, but still can't get to go viral yet. Okay. TikTok Live is where to get customers. That is 100% true. That's 100% true. TikTok Live actually is where you could get quite a bit of customers. It's kind of, the engagement on TikTok Live is unbelievable. You guys, like, my heart, like, I just appreciate everyone that actually shows up for these lives where we could just talk about stuff, because it's like, I'm like, this is so cool, right? But yeah, anyway, so point is, you don't know how to find customers. You could sit in this for a really long time. And I'm not making this up, guys. I sat in this space, this valley here for like 10 years. Like I just sat there, okay? Appeal, not approve. We reviewed your appeal and confirmed that gifting visibility for this live cannot be restored and recommended. I don't know why. Okay, just the TikTok people just telling me a bunch of craziness. So as long as you guys can see me and hear me, then that's fine. Whatever. So yeah. So anyway, you sit in here and you could sit in here for a really, really long time. Now, like I said, most people just basically give up. Okay. What sort of apps do you think makes money? So the answer to that question is any app makes money if you have the right marketing sort of like initiative and mission behind it. But certain industries are harder than others. So, for example, I'm in a construction space, and those guys are out in the field, literally with like doing stuff with their hands. So you call them and try to sell your app. They're like, bro, I'm busy right now. Like I'm literally underneath like a a 20-ton bulldozer or something. I don't have time for you right now, right? So some things are a little bit harder versus, I'm selling Lead Score, which is my AI platform for lead generation. And most people are like, oh man, I need that, because they're sitting in the office desk all day long, struggling with the same problem. That being said, though, you can sell to any category as long as you have the right channel and the right procedure, right? So yeah, so anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, guys, I got to figure this out. I really have to figure this out. In fact, I will make it my life mission to solve this problem. If I don't know how to solve this problem, then I just forget about it. Okay. So the first thing, so that was my first understanding that I'm in the depth of disillusion, okay, or the trough of disillusion, or whatever you want to call it, right? I know how to spell it now. DISOLLUTISIOTISION or something like DISION. Okay, don't judge, okay? Can't spell. So yeah, okay. So now that we have that, all right, this is what I figured out. So fast forward, I learned a couple stuff. All right, I'm telling you guys my journey because I want you guys to kind of understand like the challenge that you have to be thinking about, and I want to make sure that I could fast track it for you because I know some of you guys are sitting here. So fast forward, I learned a bunch of stuff. I was like, oh, I need to market my stuff. Well, obviously, like that's an obvious thing in the book. Okay, how do you market your thing? Like, what do you do? Okay, then I learned the thing that I learned about was the customer's journey. Customer, Customer, Customer. Yeah, that looks right. Customer's journey. Okay. Anyway. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I was like, it turns out there's a whole formula for how do you sell to a customer. And I was like, oh, this makes total sense. So let me tell you what it is first. So first of all, if you everybody can relate to this. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have a car. Maybe you don't have a car, but you can relate to the idea. If you don't have a car, think of a shoes or something. Okay, you want to buy a car or you want to buy shoes or whatever it is. Okay, so before there was a state where you didn't know about the thing that you want to buy. You just know that your shoes is broken or your car is broken. You need to get something. Okay, so you decide, okay, I'm going to buy it. Right. Now you start looking about because you're now thinking about what kind of shoes do you want to buy. Maybe you're going to a party, so you would need a dress shoe, or maybe you just want a an everyday car. Maybe you want a BMW. I don't know, whatever kind of car, right? So you start to think about what type of car, and then the first thing you start to do is you start to sort of like go a little bit more in depth doing research, right? So the first thing that you'll start to do is research, right? And then once you do a little bit of research, then you're like, okay, I think I've kind of think. So what you might end up doing is you might narrow your pick, right? I'm just gonna put narrow. Like you might filter. You filter your choices. CHOIC here, right? How would you filter your choices? You might say like, oh, you know what? This one here is a little bit over budget. This one here is a little bit, right? Like this is things that everybody does all the time. We just don't think about it in this particular way, right? So you might filter your choices for the ones that meet you based on your criteria, your budget, and all that type of stuff. And then you might say, okay, you know what? Maybe, if you're doing the car situation, you might go test drive it, right? Test drive. And then you realize, okay, the one that I picked, it's not really the best one. I don't really like the feel or the comfort, or maybe, like whatever the reason is. The point is, you're going through this path. And then finally, like just to kind of, keep the conversation simple, you might test drive it. And then obviously you're going to do all the financing and all that kind of stuff. And then you make the purchase, right? Of your car, right? So that's kind of like the rough step of how you would do it. Now, in between that, we know that, the advertiser are going to send a whole bunch of advertising or whatever. But this is like a rough sort of like journey that you would take if you were buying a car. So it turns out that because this model is so prominent, it's just standard. Literally every single thing that you do, if you could think about it in this framework, then you have a way to kind of think about customers, people, etc. So the first thing, if you were to turn it on the reverse, so in other words, you're the person that's selling the car, not buying the car, right? So you flip it on its head. Okay, the process, that same journey would look something like this. I need somebody to know about me. So let's say I'm the dealer, right? I need somebody to know about who I am. The company, right? So they got to know me, all right? Then they have to like me, okay? They got to like the stuff that I'm doing. And then they have to trust me, okay? And then they're going to buy, okay? BUY. This is the customer journey, okay? In the reverse, right? So, you if you think about it in this way, then you have like a kind of a process to kind of think about your business, okay? Because every single person, I want to stress this, every single person on the internet that has ever bought something goes through this process in some shape or form, right? And the only difference is the timeline between these things, okay? If my car is like is kind of working and it's not like an urgent problem, I just want to upgrade my car, I might do this over the course of a year or 2 years, right? Like it's like, yeah, it's fine. As I'll just run it for another year or whatever, get, just kind of stretch it out. But if let's say my car broke down, right, tomorrow, and I was looking for a car, I might compress this to like a month or maybe a weekend or something because I'm just impulse buyer. Random question: are you using Claude to build your apps? 100%, sir. Claude all the way. But I'm not using Claude Code. I'm using Claude in VS Code. So that's where I primarily use Claude right now. What sort of apps do you think makes my? Yeah, okay, I did the question already. One of the biggest things that keeps me from building is knowing I don't know marketing. Hey, that so that is the reason for you to build, because you'll just learn marketing as you go along. So I want to be clear with this. Um, it turns out that marketing is not hard. It's just that we overcomplicated it, and the information that you guys get, right, is from more let's call it seasoned marketers that are talking to people that are way further than you, right? It's like let me see if I could find a like analogy to describe it. It's like, okay, it would be the equivalent of like you learning how to drive a car. Like most of you, I'm assuming, is older than, I don't know, 19 or something, and you know how to drive a car, or at least you have an idea. So if you're learning how to drive a car, right, I'm not going to give you a Formula One car. Those are completely different. I don't even know if I know how to drive a Formula One car, and I've been driving for like 20 or 30 years now. Okay. So the point is, like, it's like the information that you see online that people teach you is like how to drive like a Formula One car in a race. And you're like, well, I'm just trying to learn how to like put my foot on the pedal. It's two completely different things, right? So that's the problem that I have figured out with marketing over the years. There's so much information about marketing that it's like, it's just so complicated, right? Marketing is very, very simple. Let me break it down for you because, what was it? Which user was it? Hang on. Mr. Studios Tuck. Okay. Let me tell you what marketing is. Marketing is literally just telling other people about the thing that you're doing. That's it. That's what marketing is. And just keep repeating it until they say, I'm interested or not. That's what marketing is. It's no more complicated than that. But just like you, when I started, I had this, I need to like do all this campaign and this and all that kind of, don't get me wrong. There's a time and place for that, and those are all valid stuff. It's just that when you're starting out, the only thing you need to do is just let people know about your stuff. That's it. Okay. And for the start, you just got to do it manually. So just literally just go in a Facebook group and start messaging people about the problems that they have and tell them about the thing that you're building and ask them to try it out. That's marketing, right? So everybody knows marketing. It's just that it's just being presented to us in this really complicated way. All right, let me try to get through the questions and then we'll kind of continue. So, random question. Yeah, did that one. Same, using Claude Opus 4.6 in the context. Claude is amazing. I'm starting to switch over to Codex a little bit because I want Codex I'm trying to learn to see if Codex is actually caught up to Opus 4.6. That's where I'm at right now. Hello, new here. Hey, man, welcome, Mr. Russia AI Faceless Studio. I hope I pronounced the first one thing. If you're new, by the way, join the community, the Vibe Coding community. I have a Vibe Coding community where you could join for free. And I have courses inside of here about Cloudflare and stuff like that. And I'm working on a few other things. But welcome. So what else we got here? Never put in a Facebook group, or I never go in the Facebook groups. Yeah, you know what? That's the thing that I never did it before, but I'm realizing there's so much value. Let me give you a real example of that, by the way. Okay, I'll get you the other question and I'll give you an example of that. Okay, what I've been doing this past week. Oh, that's what I've been doing this past week. Just gotta keep on. Yes, 100%. LOL, I'm a girl. Oh, sorry. Sorry. My bad. The internet is just people, so no discrimination here. Girl, boy, welcome. He, they, she, whatever. We don't care around here. Right? Welcome. Okay, so let's talk about the Facebook group thing, right? Because the know you part, like I said, is super simple. It's just that it's like, well, okay, so first of all, you got to get them to know you. We talked about this before, okay? But what do I mean by that? I'm going to drill into that, I promise you guys. But let me just talk at a high level first so everybody's like on the same page. So they need to know you. And knowing you means it could be as complicated as doing like Facebook ads and Google ads and all this type of stuff. Or it could be as simple as you literally just going into a Facebook group, as I mentioned, and messaging somebody, going into a Twitter or a or Instagram DM and just messaging people, or TikTok DM, right? Like it could be as simple as that. Now, there's rules about doing this, but my point is that it's as simple as that. Liking you, the only way you're going to get people to like you is you need to show up multiple times. So, prime example, right now, the only time that I could commit to these calls or these lives is once a week, every Friday. That's what I do. Okay, that's the extent of my commitment right now. But some of you guys, you get a notification and you're like, oh, I've seen that guy before. He said something good the last time, so I'll listen to him for 5 minutes, right? You know, and so over time you just start to like me, right? Like that's just what happens. So I just need to keep connecting with you multiple times until you start to like me. Okay, don't be annoying. You just have to start liking the person. Okay, so that's just how it happens. And then what's going to happen over time? You're just going to start trusting them. Well, I've seen this guy like 100 times for the last year. So if he tells me I should do this, I'm gonna do it, right? Like it's literally that simple. Reddit and Hacker News for sure. Yeah, so we'll talk about those two for sure in a bit. And then eventually, I guarantee you guys, okay, if I give you enough value, literally, because I want to be clear, what I'm doing right now on TikTok is literally taking you guys through this process. Just to be clear, you are being sold. Even if you don't know that you're being sold, you are literally being sold right now. Okay, what's happening on live right now is I'm giving you guys value in the form of content, so you guys are getting to know me, right? Eventually, you're like, yeah, this guy gave me some good tips the last time. I'm gonna come back on him for the live the next time. So you're gonna start liking me, and then eventually you'll just start trusting the information that I gave you, or maybe you went off and tried some of the things that I talked about, and you started. It's like, oh yeah, this actually works. You know what? I trust this guy when he gives me information. And then if I decide to sell you guys something at some point, a certain percentage of you will just buy, right? You will just naturally go through that process. So just so we understand that's happening all the time, every time. And just to drive this point home a little bit more, this happens if you're dating, okay? It's literally the same thing. You go on, I don't know, Tinder or whatever the cool kids do these days for like dating apps, right? I'm like out of the dating scene, so I can't really talk much about that. But it's like, right, you go on like Tinder, you like swipe, like, okay, I like this person, right? I'm gonna try to see if I can connect with them. You guys chat back and forth to where the deal is. You jump on a date, right? Because you think then you move on to like liking them, quote unquote, right? And then maybe if the relationship kind of progress, you start trusting them a little bit. You guys start seeing each other more often, right? And buying is like you got married, right? It just happens all the time, every time. You just keep this model in your head because it's literally a formula for life. Okay, so now let's talk about the knowing you part of things. Okay, so how do you get people to know about your app? Facebook group, we talked about that one already. CEBOK group, GROUP. Reddit is big one for sure. REDDIT. Is that how you spell Reddit? REDDIT, I think. Reddit group. Let's do it one more. Let's do TikTok Live. TOK Live. Okay. Instagram, obviously, and some of the other ones. We don't have to go through all of them, right? I'm just kind of giving you guys some examples here. So what do you do, right? Like, what do you do for people to know you? Okay, you have to just do things that. So first of all, just don't go randomly messaging people. I'm saying the obvious here, but I want to make sure everybody understands. Don't go random messaging people in Facebook groups, right? Like, don't go into like the knitting community and try to sell your technical app, right? About how to like, help engineers solve engineer problems. It's just the wrong mix, right? You have to go find a group that matches up with the thing that you're talking about. And then you have to go find the people that have the problems that you're talking about or you're trying to solve for, right? And then you literally engage with them. And the engagement could be in two different formats, right? It could be in asking questions, okay? Or it could be in answering questions, okay? And I'm saying this and I'm trying to be very obvious here because it's like people have this idea of like, marketing being complicated. It's not. This is literally what it is. Find a group, go ask some questions, answer some questions, and do it enough times that people will just naturally know who you are. They will recognize your unique name, and they'll just start engaging with you because it's like, oh, I know this guy. He's answered a bunch of questions in the past, or I read his answers before, and he always like answer with a thoughtful response, right? Hey, Mr. Gray Production, Gere, Gray Production, I think it is. Reddit or Hacker News? Yes. So right, Reddit, Reddit, yeah. And then Hacker News. Yes, you did mention Hacker News, so we'll put that one in here. HACKERNEWS. Okay, but I'm gonna argue Hacker News is like a little bit more advanced. Okay, actually, you know what? Let's just do this. We'll break this down a little bit more. We'll do the deep dive on this one here a little bit. So in here we got this, right? We'll put the Facebook group or etc. I'm gonna put a line here. I'm gonna put more advanced. Okay, and the reason why is Hacker News is not a basic thing. A, D, V, and C. And I want to make sure that everybody kind of has like a entry level path to getting information about your app out to the world. This is what you do, okay? Why I mentioned this is more advanced maybe, is because this would fall under the lines of like content strategy. No, so it'd be like this. It'd be like content. Okay, so it'll fall on the lines of content, and for you to do content, you kind of have to have a little bit of strategy, a little more strategy. But this would fall on the lines of content, and then obviously blogs, right? Blogs / articles, right? Like this guest articles, TICLES, right? Like that would fall under that kind of thing, and then a little bit more going to just take this a little bit further up. The advanced tree, it would be ads, right? Online ads. Okay, but you don't have to start there. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. Okay, you don't have to start there. You just have to be very, very prescriptive about this. So it's as simple as this: get an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, take out an Excel spreadsheet. SHET. Oh my goodness, can't spell. Okay, you guys know what I mean. Take an Excel spreadsheet and literally just answer a bunch of questions and then make note of the users. Keep the username. Okay, and then you want to keep a short note or comment. Note. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you use AI and you do voice typing all day long, every single day. You just don't know how to type anymore. So you just, it's like I'm just becoming like a caveman now. I don't even know how to type properly anymore. Just insane. The AI gods are going to just ruin humanity. I just want to make some money in the process. Okay. So yeah, but okay. So this is what you do. All right. You just message a bunch of people, keep track of them, right? So in my world, like I'm talking to you guys right now online, what am I doing? Like the usernames are going around right now. I'm making a mental note, but if I wanted to be strategic about it, after this live, I would go in and I would see all the messages that you guys message me that are engaging, things that you're talking about, like people that are talking about apps, etc. I'd put it in a spreadsheet and I'd make a note. So when you show up again the next time, I was like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you had this problem, right? I started engaging with you. You start to like me. Then you start to trust me. Then you buy from me someday, maybe, right? Like that's the process. Okay, so that's marketing. If you're getting value from this, put a 1 in the chat just so at least I know you guys are actually getting some value, and then 2, heart the screen just so at least I know people are actually understanding what I'm saying. And if you got any questions, because I want to deep dive into this a little bit more, not necessarily marketing per se, but just on the broader topic. Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody's with me just in case you got questions. And while you're doing that, I'm going to check some of the other platforms just to see if we're still up and running on the other platforms here. So yeah, we're still doing okay. Fantastic. So okay, so with that, hey, how are you, man? I'm doing pretty good. Oh, you know what? Sorry, I'm not seeing the I'm not seeing the chats on Instagram. This is a problem with all these messenger system. Ah, sorry, man. I wasn't paying attention to the messenger. Trying to reach you, Paul Jar. Give me a call. All my people, I think. How does it integrate with Teams platform like Azure Dev Platform, Atlassian, Georgia? Okay, hang on. I'm going to try to keep up on the questions for one bit here on Instagram because this, for some reason, the chat is not routing into the main chat here. So, hey Dwayne, how are you? I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing well, Mr. Approve. I know how to say your name. I suck at it. Pruvrdx. And then how does it integrate with Teams platform of choice like Azure DevOps, Atlassian, Jira? I think you're asking about a question related to. Oh, you're probably answering. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Hang on. And talking to your agents through the phone. Doing well. Claude Dispatch could be helpful. Yes, Claude Dispatch. Okay. Yes. That's a good topic. Okay, I'm going to check that out. CLAUDDISPATCH. Thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that. So Cloud lets you control your cloud for your phone. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna check that out for sure, Pro. I appreciate you. I'm sorry, the chats are all over the place, so I'm trying to keep them in a sort of like a sane manner here, but it's so hard to keep track of them. But hang on, let me see if I could just resize this screen a little bit so I could put it in a different thing. Sorry guys, I'm a little new to this and the live stream gods. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I got Instagram in front of me, so at least I can keep track of it a little bit better now. All right. Okay, let's continue. So you guys are with me still, yes? I think we're still good. So yeah, hey, Mr. Gree Production. I think I answered that one already. Yes, I did. So yes, here. What's my point here? Okay, what's my point? It's that if you're gonna build an app, you got to get it out to the masses. You got to get it out as soon as possible. And you have to figure out how to do it early in the process, okay? Because most people, what end up happening is they spend a bunch of time building something. They don't know who's going to use it. They have no idea whether it's truly going to work. They believe it's going to work, but they actually haven't even been able to test it. And what was the person that said that earlier? Not random question. He says, yes, the biggest thing that keeps me is knowing how to market. No. Who was it? He said... what's I be doing all week? I built in base 44. I've used Replit 2. Okay, that's cool. Let's just push this. Damn, somebody said that. What's the question? One of the things that keep me. Yes, my app is free. Yes, there's a person. Push pull commit. So he said my app is free. People like it when they use it, but still can't get it to go viral. So let's double click on this one here because this is actually a really good statement. Okay, so I have an app that I built, me personally. AP. It's called Affordly. It's AFFORDLR. This is one of my apps. It's 100% free. Eventually, it's going to be $1 per thing. Okay, and it's free. And I've been thinking about how do I get people to use it. If you have a free thing, first of all, you need to make sure that you have a solid business model. Okay, free doesn't mean free. It's obviously costing you in some way to have that app, whether it's in time or in money or etc. So you have to figure out how you're going to make money from it. The goal at the start is not to go viral. Just want to be clear, okay? Because you don't know if this thing is going to properly. In other words, you don't know if somebody's willing to pay for it as yet. Okay. So I always encourage people this. If you have an app and you're afraid to charge, just charge $1. Like literally, just charge $1 and see who's willing to pay. If they're not willing to pay $1, then the real question is why aren't they willing to pay $1, right? Because it's like, most people can afford $1, right? Unless you're like, I don't know, homeless or something like that, right? Heaven forbid. But most people can't. So the question is why aren't they willing to pay at least $1 for your app? So you need to answer that question. And generally speaking, what it translates to is they're not getting enough value, right? Right? It's oh, it's not worth the dollar, right? Like you'll hear people say that, oh, I'm not paying a dollar for that. Like it's just totally not worth it, right? Some people will not pay a dollar because they just think it's cheap, therefore it's not good, right? So there's one half of society, I'm not in that half, that if something is too cheap, they probably won't buy it because they like expensive things and this is just too cheap, right? Like there's literally people like that in the world. So you need to really think about that and to kind of understand where you fall in that realm of things. And then from there, what you really should be doing next is asking very specific questions about, how would I describe it? Asking questions specifically about what is it that they like and don't like about your app. In other words, if they're using it and they like it, what are the things that they like? And if let's say you have like 10 things and you talk to, I don't know, 10 or 20 people. Right? Let's say you talk to 20 people that are using your app for free and they all say they like these 4 or 5 or 6 different things, whatever it is. Okay. What you would do is you would basically have the 10 features in the app. You would take the 3 or 4 things that people really like and you keep hearing over and over. And what you would do is you would cap it at a certain usage level and then put it into a different tier. This way, when they use it, they fall in love with the things that they like, aka the 3 features. And the minute they get used to it, then you say, okay, if you want to continue using it, then you have to pay me $1, right? So in other words, you have a way of like upgrading them to a paid tier. Now, I say that sort of like super easy. This is actually a really hard problem. It's a known problem. It's the reason why Slack for years just didn't make a lot of money because they had tons of users, not a lot of paying customers. Eventually they got bought over by Salesforce or whatever. But this is a real problem with a lot of apps. For me personally, I tend not to do free stuff. This affordly is one of those exceptions because I have a completely different business model on the back end with credit card companies and stuff like that. So I'm in the business of finding, getting huge amount of users so I could sell on the back end side of things. So that's different. So, but anyway, just think about that while you're doing your stuff. Like your goal is not to get viral. Your goal is really just to get the value and learn and get the feedback from your existing customers. I am curious though, what kind of app is it, Mr. Push Pull Commit? Let me know in the chat what app is it. And actually, if you don't mind sending the URL, that would be great as well too. Then we could look at it. Okay, what I've been doing the past week, so you just got to keep on it. Yes. Yeah, but I'm curious, what is the actual app that you're building? Like, tell me what the app is that you're building so I could think. And by the way, if you guys don't mind, you could just double tap the screen just to do the hard things, just to give me some feedback. That would be great. So, because I don't, the TikTok thing, it's hard to decide. Like it, I think it's still going. I think it's fine, but I don't see any single activity in the chat. So yeah. All right, so moving forward. So what's the next layer? Let's pretend for a second now, right? They know you, right? Again, they're gonna know you by DMing people, messaging people, TikTok, etc., right? Then you need to get some feedback. So before this, you could actually do this step properly, before they could get to really like you, etc. Well, your only mission here is just to get feedback. So, man, where's the text now? Okay, there we go. That's your mission. Okay, your mission is to get the feedback. That's what you're trying to do, right? Try to make this bigger enough so people can see it. Okay, because the feedback is so it will kind of guide you on where you need to be going next, and what is the things that you need to be thinking about going forward, right? Like that's what our goal is. Okay, so with that, now we got to start thinking about how do we get them over into this trust category. Now, the trust category comes pretty like actually these two are kind of, I'm going to kind of skip over them because really and truly what we want to talk about is sort of like the buy-in category more than anything else, right? So we already talked about this process of like, if you have 10 features, so let's say you have 10 features, 1, TURES, Feature, okay? So you have 10 features, okay? You get the feedback, you pick the top 3, let's just say, top 3 features, right? And then you, what's the word I'm looking for? Limit usage, okay? And by doing that, by limiting the usage, then you could kind of upgrade them to a paid tier, right? So the by category is you try to basically do an upgrade. UPGRAD. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Green. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And again, this is kind of B2C, we're kind of doing this B2C kind of deal. We're going to talk about a different version for B2B, but I want to just kind of make sure that we're kind of like level setting in terms of like, what is it that you do in order to actually gain customers on your platform from kind of like a generic, how do I get people to start thinking about my app? Now, if you're in the B2B world, okay, the know you, like you, trust you kind of part, which, by the way, I would recommend most of you to just kind of focus on B2B. It's easier, okay? I mean, nothing is really like truly easy, but it's definitely the returns are the effort. So that you might do the same amount of effort, but get 10 times more reward in the process. They stay longer with you, right? Especially if your product is sticky, etc. There's lots more benefits, lots more upside to doing things on the thing. Can somebody just message in TikTok just so I know that it's still live? Because I haven't seen any message in a bit. So somebody just basically do me a favor, just put a 1 or something in the chat, just so at least I know that it's still sort of live and there's nothing that kind of stuck. Sometimes yeah, somebody, nobody, anybody, TikTok. I feel like there's something going on and I don't know what it is. Asian motion followed. Yeah, there's definitely something on it. Yeah, I'm not, okay, I'm not seeing the messages in TikTok anymore. Damn it. Okay, whatever. We'll proceed. Hopefully you guys are still hearing me. Hopefully I'm still somewhere live on the internet somewhere. So if you are, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me something so at least I know that I'm, not talking to dead space. Right, okay, so let's talk about B2B. B2B, okay? So in the B2B world, okay, your know you, like you, buy you. So, know you, like you, buy you. Know, like, trust. So exact same thing as up here. Let's zoom out a little bit and pull these guys back, okay? We're gonna put this back here. The question is, how do you do the know you, like you, buy you in the B2B world, okay? Which is, again, where the money is made, right? It's the exact same thing, guys. Exact same thing. So first thing what you'll do in this particular, instead of going to Facebook by the way, just be clear, there's business people on Facebook. There's business people on TikTok. There's business people on LinkedIn, etc. Okay? So instead of going on Facebook, maybe you might go on LinkedIn. But the point is, there's business people everywhere. So yeah. But that being said, though, for people to know you, you might do something like cold email, right? You might do cold call, okay? And you might do, let's go with Facebook ads, FB, okay? Or Google ads, Facebook/Google. Okay, these are probably the cheapest, well, I shouldn't say cheapest. They're not necessarily the cheapest way, but because they do require some infrastructure and stuff for every one of these, maybe except of cold call, which is a phone number. But if you're gonna do it properly at scale, you do have to invest a little bit of resources into it, right? So with cold email, you have to kind of spend some time kind of setting up the system, and we won't go into all that details or what it is, but the point is you have to do that, okay? And for them to get from know you to like you, okay, it just means that you just have to send more, okay? So it means send more emails, okay? And then on the like part, you have to, for Facebook ads, it's show more ads, Okay, so in other words, they need to see the ads more times. They need to see the emails from you multiple times. So what does that look like? The first email might say like, "Hey, John, we sell, I don't know, e-commerce. We sell, I don't know, we sell, I don't know, bones to dogs, and we know you like dogs. So just want to know if you're interested in buying a bone for us for your dog, right? Just a random cold email." And John's like, "I don't know who this person is. Ignore." And then you send another email 3 or 4 days later. "Hey, John, just want to know if you got my first email about the dog bone. We have really cool bones. I know that you have a German Shepherd. They probably like it." Sounds a little creepy, but I'm just giving you an example, right? And John might ignore that email. So you send another email again 3 days later. "Hey, John, we actually got a special on that bone. You might be interested in it for your dog," right? The point is, eventually, some subset, not a lot, but some people will get from cold email where I don't know you to I kind of know you, to okay, this seems like it sounds kind of interesting. It's not a true like because I'm not really liking you as yet, but that might lead to a phone call, a meeting, or something where they could kind of get to know you. After that meeting, you might do a little bit of engagement, and then from there they kind of move to the trust stage, right? So the point is the process stays the same. It's just the platform is different, right? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So for the people that don't know, let's say they don't know marketing, it's not that complicated. The process might feel complicated because people just, like I said, make it complicated, but the core of it is not. All right. I have nobody messaging inside of the TikTok chat, so I have no clue whether TikTok is even up or down. I should check it, but whatever. We're just going to keep going through. So, who's getting some value? If you are, give me a thumbs up. If you're not getting any value, then don't give me a thumbs up. It's up. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate it. Okay, that's good. So at least I know it's up, because sometimes it just kind of just dies on me. Thank you so much. So, okay, good. So at least we understand this, right? So the point is, oops. Oh my goodness, man. Here in a few. There we go. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So with that, this is number one. Okay, finding your customers. We're literally almost on the first one here, but right, scaling your vibe coding app, getting customers. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to figure out how to get the customers. If you don't know how to get the customers, then you're screwed. There's no other way to describe it. Okay, you're just screwed. Okay. So it turns out that getting the customer is kind of the easy part. I know you guys are like, what? No, it kind of is, because I can't tell you guys the amount of customers that I've lost. And I'm kind of ashamed to say this, but I'm like, I recognize that this is just part of the game. In fact, the official word for this is called churn, right? CHURN. If you've never heard of that word, go look it up. Okay. And I think, big companies, I think they want to keep their churn like at 3% or something like that. It's just factored into every single thing. So in other words, for every 10 customers, you might lose 3. Every 10 customers you get, you might lose 3. You just have to keep getting more customers than you're losing. In a perfect world, you would just keep gaining customers and never lose customers, but that's not a thing, right? Even on my very small YouTube channel, I've noticed that when I got to like 500 subscribers, 700 subscribers now, every couple of days I'll lose 1 or 2 people, because I'll post a video that they were like, "Oh, I thought this guy was talking about this," so unsubscribe, right? So it's just natural. You're gonna gain some, lose some. The goal is you just gotta keep gaining more than you lose. So that's the key. But let me tell you a story, just so at least you guys can kind of understand some of the problems that I've experienced with like keeping customers. So I built my app. Okay, app's doing well, getting customers. One customer that I got from the US. This was a US customer that we got a few years ago. The product was, let me describe it this way. we had, because I mentioned in the start of this conversation, I had one customer and I built an application, sold it, got over like $500,000 from that one customer. And then the relationship went bad. So the customer left, we parted ways. And then I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to find more customers. Finally, I figured out how to sell to other customers because I found this channel. We won't go into all the details. I found other customers. This one customer, if I remember correctly, I think their down payment was about $15,000, if I remember correctly. So not a super small customer, but not a large customer either, right? Like decent size. So it's like a 15 grand initial deposit that they gave us. And I think, if I remember correctly, the monthly recurring was supposed to be around $2,300 a month for this customer. So a decent sized customer. Okay, let's just call it that at the time. And they started using the platform, and it was like every single day I'd be on the phone with them. Every single day I'm on the phone. Every single day they got some problems, they got some issues, they got some questions or whatever. And then we had an outage, and then we had a problem, and then like the problems just kept coming. I remember every single day I would wake up and I'd be looking at my inbox and just frustrated at the amount of just stress that was just looking me in the face. And worse yet, as I had all of the solutions in my head, I couldn't deploy them fast enough. No matter how fast I could write code, boy, did I wish I had AI today, back then. Because if we did, I promise you we'd be a multi-million-dollar company by now. We're not, because of some of these growing pains, okay? But man, oh man, did we have problems, because the customer just kept asking for stuff. And to be honest, I oversold a lot of things on the selling side of things. And then now the customer is asking for it. And I thought that by then we'd be able to, like, work and code our way to death and solve the problem for the customer. And we just couldn't. But worse yet, the customer was coming from a previous platform and they were switching, and they expected all of the features from the previous platform, all the features from the previous application in our application. And this just became a nightmare of a situation for us to solve for. And we kept fighting issues after problems. And it just eventually, I think like 2 or 3 months later, probably no more than 2 months for sure, 2-3 months, the customer said, you know what, Dwayne, this is just not working out for me. We just got to part ways. And they did. They were like, take. And I was pretty scared because we had a sort of a money get back guarantee. It was like a 30-day type of stuff. They'd already passed the 30 days, but it was close enough that I felt kind of still obligated that I was doing. But we'd already spent that money because we were a startup, right? So as fast as the money came in, we were just spending it. And they were like, yeah, no, we just got a thing. But they appreciated the work and the effort that I put into the product. And so one of the things that the owner said to me when we were parting ways, he's like, listen, I'm not going to ask you back for our money. But if you guys can solve these problems and you want to do business with us, you come down here to Pennsylvania, because they're in upstate Pennsylvania. It's like, you come down to Pennsylvania, we sit down, we're going to work things out together. You're going to look at me in the eyes, you're going to promise me that you can solve these problems, and we're going to do business together. And I was like, okay, that's fair. I'm going to get my software sorted out and then I'll come back to you. I never did, but the point is that we left on, fairly decent terms. And then for the next few years, I just spent trying to figuring out how to build this product properly. The truth is, it's only because AI has come into the picture that we're just moving at significantly rapid pace. And it's only now I'm fulfilling all of the features that I wanted to build back then, but couldn't because we didn't have the speed and the resources to hire more developers. And I think back then we had like 13 developers too. So we were cranking out code at a fairly fast pace, but it wasn't fast enough. Point is this. What is the point of the story? The point of the story is I really, really struggled to keep customers. And if you vibe code your application and you don't put some thought into this part of the equation, like how do I maintain a customer? What are the things that I need to do on a regular basis to maintain a customer? You're going to fall flat on your face. So one of the biggest things that I've had to do of recent, So one is onboarding. Okay, you have to. Okay, so we're talking about keeping track of customers. So I'm going to pull this one down a little bit. Okay? So you need to have a good onboarding experience, and you need to really spend time thinking through the details of. So here, keeping track of customers. Yeah. So onboarding is the first thing. Okay. What does my onboarding experience look like? Okay. And when I say onboarding, you guys know what I mean by that. Like everybody understands what I mean by onboarding, which is basically the process of taking you from non-customer to a customer on the platform. Okay. And for us, what the definition of onboarding meant was we literally spent so we had our onboarding call. And by the way, I'm not recommending this. I'm just telling you what we did because this was what we had to do, especially because we were dealing with B2B customers. We had to kind of guide them through the process. Okay. So the first thing we had to do was the initial call. Okay. Then we had to import their data. Okay. Then we had to, what was the other thing? So import data. Then we would do, basically we'd give them a trial run. So they need to get their first quick wins, right? You need to be strategic about this. It's not like, oh, we're going to import the data, we're going to solve the world's problem. No, you're going to do these three things, and then we're going to check back in with you next week. So what was those three things for us? We told them to add 10 customers to the platform. COSTOMERS, right? 10 customers. And then I think it was like create 3 sales quotes and 3 to 5, something like that, projects. Okay. This was our sort of like, let's call it your first time to value, right? So TTV, time to value, right? So in other words, they need to see something really fast, because if they don't see a quick win from you or the platform, or they're not like, you know, they have to come in here, they have to do like a whole bunch of stuff for like 3 months before they get any sort of wins, they're not going to use your system. They're just going to be like, you know what, forget it. It's not worth my time. That's what's going to happen. So you need to figure out for you and your app, what is the quick win? What is the thing that you can do right now that, you know, like when they use it, they'd be like, I get it. This app is cool. Or, whoa, that was an awesome experience, right? Like you have to give them that first win. The problem with this is that if your app is complicated and the first win takes too long and they have to discover it on their own, then you're going to get a high churn rate. Okay. So the first win has to be low enough that they could potentially do it on their own, or your work could be very small in guiding them so that you could do like 20 in a week, right? As an example, right? One person could do like 20 in a week, and then you could have some traction. But you don't want to be on the phone with a customer for like 5 hours for the next, you know, next 3 weeks, guiding them through all the details of your application. So this becomes extremely important. And the thing that killed us with this process is that this was week 1. So we had, I think our onboarding process was a 4 weeks process. Okay. It took 4 weeks for you to be able to feel somewhat comfortable with the platform. So what we would do is we would have a weekly call for the first 4 weeks. Still to this day, I still kind of believe in this model, because for enterprise level customer, it turns out you just have to do this kind of hand holding. But we want to be able to scale. So you still need to be able to give your, like, for example, we're thinking about bringing out a cheap tier. Like right now, our product is like $350 a month on the minimum, $550 and $950. We're thinking of bringing out like a $29 a month tier. And at that tier level, you're just going to go watch your videos. Like, there's no way I'm jumping on a call with you for $29 a month, right? But you just need to go watch these videos, check these boxes, or go through this checklist, and you're in the system. And we're going to experiment with that. But the point is, you need to be thinking about these trade-offs. if you're going to do more hand holding, your setup fee needs to be significantly higher. If you're going to do less hand holding and you just let them just do a self sign up process, then you could get away with like no setup fee and just basically let them just do their own thing, right? Hopefully that gives you some kind of context or value. But this is super important. So once you do your onboarding, the next part of that entire process is, it's kind of skipping forward a little bit. Let's pretend for a second that your customers are starting to use the product a little bit, is follow up and feedback. And feedback. Okay, I can't stress this enough. This is where, honestly, I just fell off the bandwagon so many times on, because once my customers the truth is half the time the customers were calling me because they had a problem with our platform, right? There's just so many problems on the platform. They just kept calling over and over. So they were following up. It's just that it was sort of the wrong thing. I never got the opportunity to just follow up with them. Fast forward though, now that we've kind of gotten a little bit more of a better process and a system, this follow-up and feedback has been, what I've been doing is crafting every 2 to 3 weeks. We send out an email that gives people an update. And in fact, let me see if I can pull up one of them as an example, because I sent one out yesterday. Let's see. So, my problem in this application is not loading properly. Oh, sorry. That's just me sending a ticket to myself. Okay, so sorry, I'm just seeing tickets and I'm getting distracted here, but let me just show you an example of an email that I sent out. No, I'm looking for a sent email that I sent out yesterday, giving people updates on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, here. So how do I'm trying to. Okay, here. So I sent this out. How do I? My goodness. I swear it's like I'm learning computers for the very first. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That's what I want. Yes. Okay, so this is what I sent out to my customers. It's like, hey, Jacob, here's a quick update on some of the features that we recently thing out for SnapSuite, right? I put a video in there, a Loom video, and it's like, here are the new features. Now, not many people read this, right? Here are the things that we fixed, not super overwhelming. And here's what's coming soon. This is the format for my email every 2 to 3 weeks, okay? And then you click on it, and it takes you to a video, and the video just shows me, like, literally just sharing what's going on with the app, what are the features that we added, what's new, what's being fixed, what's right, like that. That's literally what it is. And this is what I'm using now to keep engaging with my customers, so they feel that I'm still around. Because before, in the past, customers would literally be like, hey, haven't heard from you in a while, what's going on, right? Like, it just, so now they're like, every 2 weeks or so, an email goes out, hey guys, here's what's happening, this is what we're doing, etc. This follow-up part is crucial to reducing churn. Okay, CHURN. I know I'm pronouncing it a little weird, but it's, yeah. Okay. Super, super critical. So it's not enough for you to be like, oh yeah, well, they signed up and they they're using my app, right? So I'll give you a real example of that. As I mentioned, this Affordly app that I'm building, right, is track your money, get out of debt, okay? And I have about 15 users inside of here. And I only did one video on TikTok, and I posted it on Instagram and YouTube, and people signed up. I got about 15 people that signed up from that one initial invite. That was about a month and a half ago. I haven't sent any communication to those people since, and that's because I've been busy with my other apps, etc. That being said though, I've made a ton of feature updates. These people have no idea about it. And more importantly, I need them to engage with the app so they could get value. Because if they don't, they're just going to just abandon it like every single thing else, right? And just move on. And so that communication is super, super important. It's literally the thing that you have to do in order to prevent churn. Okay, if you don't do that, you're done. You're just done. Forget about it. Like, you just walk away today. Like, you know. So yeah, hopefully that's making some sense. And I'm not telling you guys things that you don't. Well, hopefully I'm giving you some value, but okay, I'm just checking my lives, just make sure that people are still kind of following. Leave site, yes, that's fine. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so where are we? Keeping customers, right? So the point is, and then every now and again, you just got to pick up the phone and just go talk to a customer, right? Like, don't be afraid to talking to your customers. It's really, really important because first of all, they're just humans, right? Like, we tend to kind of treat the internet as like this black box. It's just a human at the other side of the computer. So message them and be like, hey, do you have 5 minutes? Would love to talk to you about the app that we built for you. And if you're getting value, what are some of the problems? What are some of the issues? And then at the end of that conversation, be like, I really appreciate the effort and you just giving me some guidance and sharing some of the feedback. Do you mind if I check back in with you in a month? I'm going to try to go work on these problems and fix them for you. And I'm going to fix them. And then when I do, is it okay if I check in with you in another month or so to see if those improvements made things better for you or not? Human beings, right? Human to human connection. In the world of AI, this is going to become so critical. It's literally going to be the thing that's going to separate your vibe coded app from the other 100 million other vibe coded apps that are coming on the market tomorrow. I have news for you. If you're thinking your vibe coded app is unique, guess what? There's like a million other people doing exactly what you're going to be doing. So the thing that's going to separate you is literally the ability to like reach out to people and just talk to them like a human being. Do not treat them like a number. Okay. Just human beings on the other side of the computer. Just remember that. So yeah, okay. So we kind of got the getting customers, we got the keeping customers. Hopefully you guys are getting some value. Hopefully you're understanding, like, again, the things that you need to do in order to have a proper vibe coded business or vibe coded app, how to scale it. The hard part becomes, right, like, it's fine and actually I should say this, when you're doing this at the start, it's perfectly fine to do this manually. I will raise my hands and say that I'm the first, okay, what I'm saying is, I'm the first will raise my hand to say that I overcomplicate things too many times, okay? If you tell me, oh, I need to keep track of my customers and I need to keep track of churn and all this type of stuff, the first thing I start doing is building an app to solve the problem. And this is one of the biggest flaws that I have. In fact, it's the only flaw. Okay? You don't need to do that. A spreadsheet, a notebook, pen and paper, like whatever it is, a whiteboard, it doesn't matter. For your first 20 customers, let's say, you could just keep it on a spreadsheet and a whiteboard. Go old school and a notebook. All right? Like, you don't need to get that complicated. You just need to be systematic in your ability to take the feedback, write it down, come up with a to-do list, get the stuff done. Get for feedback, iterate. Okay. Once you start getting some traction, you start getting some volume, then you bring in another software tool, anywhere from HubSpot, or use our software, LeadScore, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Point is, at that particular point, you could start getting something, and maybe you need to get the developers involved, etc., etc. Right? So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to pause for a bit. I'm going to try to see if anybody has any questions. I mean, just rambling along in kind of like silence. And let me see if anybody has any questions. And if there's no questions, then we're just going to continue. I want to talk about some of the scaling stuff on the other side as well too. So, like right now, we're kind of on the customer side of things, but we're gonna talk about some of the other challenges that comes with building that they don't tell you about. So let's see. I'm just double checking, make sure that nobody else is messaging on any of the other platforms that I don't know about. Boo, boo, boo. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right. So, okay. Right. So, by the way, if you're new here or you don't know who the hell I am, I've been in the development community. Hey, Mr. Shannon, the Digital Pixel CPDP. What does CDPD stand for? The Digital Pixie. The Digital Pixie. How are you doing? So yeah, so if you're new here, let's just got to do the whole marketing thing. If you're new here, you haven't joined the community already, join my Vibe Coded community, and I got videos on Cloudflare stuff. Certified prompt design. Oh my goodness, there's a certified prompt design professional. Certified FIED prompt design PRFESSION. I didn't know that was such a thing, but I certified prompt design, a trained expert in crafting, testing, and refining AI prompts. I mean, I know the category. I just didn't think that there was a certification for it. That's cool. Very, very cool. And where are you joining from? Which part of the world? AI certificate. That's cool. Yeah, the certificate gods are out. It's kind of interesting because I've never ever tried to get certified in IL. Okay, cool. Illinois. Welcome in the house. Welcome, Mr. or Mrs. IL. Yeah, so okay, so you're new here. Just to give you caught up on what we're talking about. We're talking about vibe coding, not just how to build an app, but we're talking about how to get customers, keep customers, upsell your customers, and we just did a whole walkthrough on customer journey, getting your customers to know you, like you, trust you, buy from you. We talked a little bit about where you could get them to know you from Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, or you could do more advanced stuff like blogs, etc. Or if you're in the B2B world, you can do things like cold email, cold call, etc. And now we're talking about how to keep your customers. So just to give you a quick overview on what's going on. So yeah, well, welcome. Nice to see a new not American in the house. I'm not in America, by the way. I'm in Canada. So anyway, okay, so good. So we're going to move on a little bit. We'll talk about upselling customers. So this is the hardest one. And I got to be honest here. I haven't mastered this. I don't think I've mastered any of these, to be honest with you. But I know enough about them. And I have experience about it. But upselling customers is probably the one that I failed at the most. And I'll give you a real example right this minute. Because I have a customer. They're sitting in this 350 tier. So this is one of my customers right now is literally sitting in the 350 tier. And to be honest with you, we've never really truly I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? We've never been extremely disciplined about making sure that we keep the difference of these categories. In other words, if you sign up at the 950 level, you're a bigger customer and you're just comfortable paying at the 950 because you just expect more. And we just do that, and sometimes we'll upsell you on a few other things, custom development and whatever. That's very easy. If you're the 550 level, I find it a little bit harder to upsell those customers. 100%, if you're the 350 level, we almost don't upsell those customers. That being said, though, we try to limit the interaction that we have with the 350 customers on some levels. We only give them up to, right now, and it's way too high at this particular point, but we give them like 10 hours max in a month of support at any given time. But that's actually really high. But what we wanted to do is kind of like be really generous with our support. So the problem that I have, and this is a problem that I'm trying to solve right this minute, is that we don't enforce that 10 hours. So we have customers that are in the 350 tier that sometimes we're doing as much work as they are on a 550 or even a 950 tier because we're not very disciplined about it. And that's something I'm trying to get more strict with. That if you're in the 350 tier, you need to basically upgrade, or else, we'll just say, well, we'll see you next month, right? Like we don't have the bandwidth capacity to serve every customer. But so I'm being real with you guys when I say on the upselling of customers, this is still something that I'm working through right this minute as we speak. That being said, though, there's frameworks for doing this right? And in the world of AI, it really translates to capping the amount of tokens, right? So in other words, if I use ChatGPT on my $20 tier, they literally just say, well, you have X amount of tokens. I don't know whether that's 10 million tokens or whatever it is, right? There's a hard cutoff. And if you go over that, you either pay on a per usage model or you have to upgrade to the next tier. It's just that simple, right? Like we use a service called Mailgun, and for sending out emails. They're a very good service, by the way. Highly recommend them. And the where is it? The Mailgun. So their pricing model, right? They have a free tier. 90% of the time we've been on the free tier. I think now we're on a 35 tier because we're sending a fair bit of volume of emails. We're sending about this per month on their platform. And so we're kind of sitting at this particular level, right? These are just transactional emails, invoices, quotations, etc. So we do I'd say a decent amount of volume on this platform, but we're paying 35. But my point is, it's a clear way for you to jump from, okay, if you're over 35, you got to jump to the next plan. And then you could do up to $90. So that's probably the best and clearest way to do it. The problem becomes if you get a customer that signs up on a low tier, like let's say you get a customer that signs up on your free tier, getting them from moving from this to this could take time. And so you might end up in a situation where you're just not upselling customers or transition them in fast enough. So you need to put almost artificial restrictions in order to kind of push them up the tier. The best example that I have for this is this. WorkOS. So WorkOS, in case you guys don't know, it's a authentication platform for enterprise customers. We're actually thinking about integrating with them because they do such a great job. But if you're using Anthropic or Claude or Cursor or Perplexity or Vercel or any one of these AI companies, it's with WorkOS under the hood for all the authentication stuff. So they have a tier because they only deal with enterprise customers mostly, but they have a pay-as-you-go tier, which I plan to use. The pay-as-you-go tier is very simple. They could give you an authentication management system and it will do up to 1 million users. 1 million users. This is the volume that these people are operating at, okay? That they will give you 1 million users for free on their platform. And then after that it's $2,500 per month per million, per additional million, because they deal in millions, which is crazy. Okay, I'm not at that level yet, which is cool. So you're telling me I could use this, I could have 500,000 users on their platform and it'll cost me absolutely nothing, which is great, which is insane, just an insane amount of value. Good. Then they have another tier that gives you some other features, etc. Okay, I won't go through all the different details. Fast forward, look at this. Custom domain, they want $99 a month. And this is where they get you. So I want to make sure that if somebody's logging into my application, that they use a custom domain name, like login.snapsuite.io or whatever, right? And so suddenly this free tier, while appealing at 1 million customers, forces me into wanting to pay because I have to use this thing that I really, really want to use. And so they could charge you $99 per month, and they also give you an admin portal and email sender address. So the point is they give you some stuff on the back end. So this is how you just you put an artificial cap, and the cap that you do is something that is so valuable that most people will just do it. They'll pay the $99 a month, right? So that's kind of the thought process around the upselling category. And it's super important that you kind of get this and you think about it from day one. Else what end up happening is you end up doing a lot of stuff for free. And trust me, I've done exactly that multiple times. Right? So yeah. Anyway, hopefully you guys are, I've gotten something from this. I feel like I'm like blabbing. Give me a second. Let me just take a drink. And I sip my coffee. By the way, 90% of the time, the only time I drink coffee is if I'm on this live. Because I'm like, I got to bring my all. I got to give value. I don't want to be like drowsy. Or like, I think one time I came on one of these lives, and it was probably one of my worst, because I didn't sleep the night before by my own doing, not because I couldn't go to bed. Just sat up and watched stupid TV all night, which is a habit that I have. And I came on the live and I was so drowsy. It's just, yeah. So anyway, note to self, do not do that again. Recently certified through DCT. Man, you were with the acronyms, eh? DCT community. I have no idea what that is. DCT community. DCT community. Decentralized clinical trail. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is. Let's see. What is it? Certified. Oh, on school. Oh, it is a school thing. Oh, cool. So AI for school. Oh, nice. AI for real people. I should join this. AI for real people. I'm a real person. That's cool. You know what? I've been seeing a lot more people popping up in the school community, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see this happening. Like it's just very cool. Yeah, they're also a free tier as well too. Yeah, no, I'll join for sure. Yeah. Okay, I'll do this afterwards. I won't do this right this minute. Cool. Well, I'm happy to know that you've been certified. Where beginners get clear on how to monetize what they're doing, AI amplified everything. Yeah, there's a lot of these communities that are popping up, and I'm trying to figure out like what's my differentiator, and I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm just happy that there's actually a thriving community that's actually growing with this here. The thing that I've been thinking about really is not just about okay, well, we're gonna do vibe coding, I'm gonna show you how to sort of monetize, etc. It's like, okay, that's great, it's a little bit of marketing. But what I've really been thinking about is like, how do I take like these really technical people and turn them into like business people? That's been like my thing, because I feel like I'm kind of a semi-fake business person. And then the other part was like, how do I take like a non-technical, complete beginner and then bring them up into at least a world where you could get to like I don't know, 120K per year, because that's like my de facto standards. Like if I could get you there where you're making like 10K per month in revenue, I'm like, that's a win for me. And then after that, you're on your own. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no. So this has been the thing, but it's sort of a balancing act. I've been trying to find what's the right mission, right? And I've been paying a lot of attention to the vibe coding community. A lot of it is great because there's a lot of people that just don't know this stuff. I've been trying to figure out like, okay, how do I intersect these two worlds together? So yeah, here we are. So any feedback would be great. But yeah, join the community. 100%. Actually, I should drop it in the chat. I keep not forgetting to do that. If you're not in there, so Dwayne Dwayne School. I'll drop it in the chat. But yeah, so and my focus is on Cloudflare. because I'm not trying to just do any and every single thing. Like if I'm building a system, it has to be 100% scalable from day one. And Cloudflare, in my opinion, is the only thing that will give you that kind of scale, like at affordable prices. Affordable prices, right? Like $5 a month will give you 300,000 requests per month, right? Like it's just doesn't get any better than that. So yeah, anyway, sweet. So good. At least I'm happy that I'm at least helping or at least guiding people around, and you guys are getting some value. Let me just scan over and see the other chats just to make sure that I'm not missing any single thing. Checking on LinkedIn, Twitter, and 4 people. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. So I'm glad that you guys are at least hanging around, getting some value, whatever. Okay, if you got questions, by the way, ask away. Just feel free to ask. I'm not locked into just the things that I want to talk about. I'm happy to talk about any single thing that you guys want to talk about. I just want to make sure, so this was just at a high level, because we talk about a lot of stuff here, okay? Sometimes I feel like I'm a marketer, and I don't want people to think that I'm talking just about marketing, because that's not what the mission or the goal is here. The goal is basically to teach non-technical people how to build a product, and the goal is how to teach technical people how to market their product. And so that's the intersection that we kind of sit. And so sometimes I feel like I'm just a marketer trying to teach you marketing, but no, we're trying to teach you the entire stack, because that's what's important, and that's the only way that you're gonna make real money. So let's talk about, let's fast forward a little bit, and let's talk about what happens if you can solve these 2 problems. Okay, so let's just pretend for a second there's a world where you actually solve are finding customers, right? Like you solved it. Like you experimented with Reddit, and you experimented with Google, and you experimented with Facebook ads, and you experimented with TikTok Live. Like you're finding actual customers, okay? And they're just coming in. Like they're just coming in. Which by the way, in what was it, 2019, I had this problem. Okay, I had this problem. It took me like, I went through a boot camp. Went through this boot camp. It's called Start Fast. Great people, by the way. STARTFAST, upstate New York. Start Fast, and it was a venture funding program. So my company's investor backed. I should mention that. So anyway, so we went through this program, and let me see. Can we find? Are we in here? Let me see. Current portfolio. Is there a way to find all the other teams? Teams fast through. They had a directory here, but they don't have it anymore. Anyway, somewhere we're in here somewhere. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is this: we went through this accelerated program. We got some funding. We told the kids, and then we were just struggling, trying to figure out. We spent every single day for at least the next 3 to 4 weeks, just trying to figure out how to find customers. Okay, and this is the level of obsession that you have to do in order to find it. It's not like you could find one customer, that's fine. But if you're trying to find like consistent customers, you have to be ruthless every single week. The thing that you wake up and to focus on is how to go find customers. And you need to allocate at minimum 3 to 4 hours per day on this task. And even if you have a day job right now, in the evening hours, you got to allocate the time for it. You got to be hunting on the internet, looking for all different types of sources. Okay, so I'll tell you how I ended up finding my source, because it'll be relevant in some kind of way to you guys. Okay, so and this is a whole other world, which I'll go on as sort of a short tangent on, and then we'll come back to this. You've solved the problem. Okay, so it turns out, I don't know if you guys know Capterra, TERA. Okay, so actually, you know what, I should put that on the list as well too. So the other source that I didn't mention on this entire list here is where people can kind of know you, in addition to like Facebook Lives and all this kind of stuff, is online directories. Okay, so online directories is a big deal. And Capterra is one of the OGs in this space, where you can go find almost any software for any single product online, especially B2B type software. Okay, so you go to Capterra and you browse, and there's a category here for you. So you want to be listed here. In fact, if I go look for Snapsuite, Okay. Okay. Turns out we're not. Oh, this is a category. Sorry. You have to do search software. Here we go. SnapSuite. Okay. So see this local product. Okay. Now here's the problem. We actually don't get any kind of real business from these guys anymore, and I'll tell you why in a sec. Okay. But we're here. See, overall 5-star, only 2 ratings or whatever the deal is. So you have to be on every directory online. You just have to. So for the start, you're just gonna go do it manually. You're gonna go to Capterra, go to G2 software, get yourself listed there. Okay, go to G2 software. You're gonna go to I'm forgetting the other one, but anyway, you're just gonna keep going to these online directories. You're gonna get yourself listed of every single one. ChatGPT can get you the list of websites that you need to be listed on, so at least you could be found. So I did this, or we did this at the time, and it turns out that these guys play a game. So you will see, for example, customer education software sponsored. Okay. So these people that are at the top here, they're paying big money, like huge sums of money. And then there's more customers, and these people are also paying. If you notice, sponsored, right? Sponsored. One guy is not sponsored in there. Okay, and then you got the free list here. So we did this. I say we as in I. So you see, if you go to field service management, see Jobber, right? If you pay Capterra a certain amount of money, they will list you on their stuff and put you in the rankings if you pay them. So I didn't know this at the time. We just innocently went on and we just listed our platform and nobody showed up. We literally got no users. And then finally we started talking to customer service and whatever, and they said, oh, well, if you pay, we can move you up in the rankings, etc. And well, I just gotten some money from an investor, and I was like, well, okay, I got some money. How much does one have to pay to be listed on one of these platforms? And so it was kind of a bidding process, and I kept upping the bid. And I'm going to get you guys a guess. Guess how much money it costs me to get to number one for one day. Number one for one day. Just if you had to make a wild guess. Put a number. Whoever is in the chat, put a number of how much money you think it took me to get to the number one spot for my category, field service management, for one day. Anybody, any number. What would be your wild guess? Make a wild guess. Okay. I'm curious to see. Look at TikTok. 2,500. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Half decent. Okay. 500. Okay. Yeah. 500. Okay. Not terrible. Those are some of the numbers that I thought. Okay, that was some of the numbers that I thought. So it turns out this guy here, Jobber, field service management. All right, I'm gonna give you guys. This is how much they were paying. So solving customers. So I'm gonna write it for you guys because I was like, there's no way. Okay, there's no way. Okay, this is the number. Wait for it. Okay, look at this. Okay, it was 3 0 1 2 3. 30 grand per day. Okay, just so in case that's not clear, I'm going to put this per day. Okay, that's what they were paying. I was like, there's no way. They're like, yeah, that's the level of competition. I was like, there's no way I can compete with that. Guess what? Because my check that I just gotten from an investor was 30 grand. Not making it up. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So nonetheless, we did list. I think, I don't know, we were doing like $300 or $400 a day or something like that. And we did move up a fair bit. We were like number 15 or something like that in the list, or 20 or somewhere around there. And we did get some leads from it. So I'm going to give you guys a secret. Okay. I promise you this is a secret. Nobody tells you this stuff. Okay. So listen up, because nobody tells you this. I promise you. I'm going to shock you. All right. Ready for this? Okay. So this is a game. Okay. What I'm giving you, I'm telling you, what I'm giving you, about to give you guys, these people, they huge money they charge for. All right. So this is the game. Here's the game. Let me tell you what happens on the back end. So, oh man, what's going on with my, all right, look at this. So this is what so Capterra, this is the online directory. All right, this is the game. So you're listed under online directory. All right, you pay whatever, your $30,000. Okay, this is the game that nobody tells you about. So I'm paying. I'm a paid customer. Right. So it turns out that Capterra has another company. And what I'm telling you here is public, but not public. Okay. Maybe YouTube might ban me for this, or TikTok. Who knows? Okay. Has another company called Software Advice. Once you see the game, you can't unsee it. So pay attention. Okay. So software, they have another company called Software Advice. Okay. What is Software Advice? They literally do exactly what's in the name. They give people advice. Good. And then there's another company called, some of you might have heard of it before. Gartner, maybe? Anybody? Yeah, sort of. Gartner. Okay. What is Gartner? Gartner does, they're known for their Magic Quadrant, MAGICQUARDRENT. Oh my goodness. My spelling is horrible. I'm dyslexic. I got to keep saying that because somebody's going to be like, no, that's not how it's spelled. I know. You have to tell me. Okay, I got a dyslexia problem. All right, Magic Quadrant. All right, so here we go. You may or may not have seen this before. If you haven't, pay attention. Okay, so every year, Gartner puts out their. You see this? Microsoft is leader in the 2022 Gartner Magic Quadrant for cloud services. Yada yada yada. Okay, so look at this, right? So guess what? This is the game, guys. I promise you, nobody's teaching you this in school. This is the game. They're all owned by one company, first of all. Okay, so Gartner owns Capterra, and Gartner also owns. Now, I'm telling you at the time. I don't know if they still own these companies, but the game is still the game. Okay, once you see it, you can't unsee the game. Come on, how come the type the line? Oh my goodness. Just trying to get the line a little bit thicker, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. They also own Gartner. They own Software Advice. And they own multiple others. I'm just kind of giving you guys a high level so you understand the game. Okay. So here's what happened. You pay Capterra for, we're going to put Capterra here. We're going to call them out by name. Captera. Okay. You pay Capterra to be in their online directory. All right. And then Software Advice normally goes out and they look for customers. They make cold call to people that want to, they're looking for, in my case, field service software. They call them up all day long. Right. And they say, hey, we have softwares that we've already vetted. We vetted them. We know that they're good, and we're happy to help you with free advice. And you're like, well, sure, I'll take some free advice because I'm looking for software and I don't know anything about software. These guys are going to help me. And then this is what they do. Ready for this? So they're going to come to you. This is you. Let me put you over here. Okay, you're the square. Okay, you're the star. You're the star. We're gonna give you make you a star. Okay. They're gonna say, hey, I have a guy that needs is looking for software, and you're like, yeah, sure, I'm interested. They're like, okay, no problem. We'll charge you for the lead. So you're like, okay, well, how much is the lead? I said, well, it depends. Well, okay, what does it depend? Well, it'll be like $35 to like $500. $500 for a lead, man, that's expensive. Okay, all right. How do I decide how much the lead is worth? Well, it depends on how big the company is, etc., etc., etc. Okay, fine. What is this lead worth to me? Okay, the lead is worth $300. Okay, so most of the leads that I was getting at the time was about 300. All right, so I pay $300 per lead. So they would give me this lead, and I'd be like, man, this is amazing. This is cool. It's all the details. And I would pick up the phone, I would call the lead, and sure enough, it is a valid lead. And they say, yes, I was talking to those guys and they were interested. And they actually, they were very helpful and they recommended you. And so that's how we're having this call. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, you guys want to sign up for a product? And they were like, yeah, okay, no problem. But we're shopping around. We're looking at some of the other systems. I was like, oh, what other systems are you looking at? Well, we're looking at these other two systems. I was like, huh, interesting. So turns out that behind your back, it's in their terms and conditions, they don't just sell it to one company, they sell it to 5 other companies. So for every single lead that they sell to you, 5 other companies in the background, or sorry, I rephrase that, 4 other companies in the background gets the same lead. So this is, we're missing one more circle. So you bought this lead for $300, and now you have to compete with these other companies. So now it becomes a speed game, right? Like you got to go like super, super fast because you have to basically try to outpace the other companies. That's the game in the background, but it gets crazier. Okay. So now now you're paying. So you got to like jump on these leads. Okay. It gets crazier. So when, I'm saying this with like only, I'm going to asterisk this because I don't want any sort of company. Let me say this properly. I'm asterisking this because I don't want any company to come and sue me. This is just my interpretation of what's happening. Okay. Got to say this. All right. So don't go telling anybody that Dwayne said this and quoted me on this. I'm just telling you my observation based on my experience, based on things that I've seen. All right. So Software Advice and Gartner, they because they're the same company, they get the same information. And now you're also paying on Capterra, right? And so now they have this information of all the companies that, you know, are closing deals or selling, etc., etc. And then they aggregate all that information and they put it into a quote unquote report. And so you end up getting this. Microsoft is the leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant and whatever. So what ended up happening is only the big players that are basically paying to play, right? Pay to play is like literally the companies that sit on this chart. So you, Mr. Vibe coded application that's like thing, you will never be on this chart unless you got deep pockets to basically buy your way into the Magic Quadrant. Okay, and they have a Magic Quadrant for basically every single thing. That's the game. That's the whole game, all right? And so you bid your way up this ladder, and based on the engagement and based on the leads, etc., and based on the, you know, the leads that they send you on the back end, that data gets aggregated, and then you can, you know, you're suddenly in the Magic Quadrant. So it's literally a pay to play. So if I had enough money, I could just cash at this entire engine and get my software all the way to the top. That's always been the game. That's never going to change. This is just marketing. So I'm not saying this with like a bitterness or anything. I'm just telling you guys the stuff that I figured out over time that made me realize that I need to play this game differently to win it. If you're going to try to do software you know, if you're going to try to sell software. So with that, okay, we ended up getting to a place where we were, how far were we? We were doing, what was it? At peak, we were getting about, we were getting about 20 to 25 leads. 25, oh my goodness, 25 leads per week. Okay, so that's the problem we're talking about. What happens when you get that many leads of customers that are actually paying, and they're not like crappy customers, right? They're proper solid customers. And maybe I could show you guys an actual example of like a sample, because they're still in my email, what they would send us, right? So what happens when you get to this point and you're getting these leads in, right? Suddenly you got to really think about a process, because now you have so many customers that are coming in. I swear the problem that I had, I was like, I would jump on a call, I would talk to somebody, and then I would get off that call and I would start talking to the next person, and didn't have enough time to even like jot down the notes from the previous call. And the calls by the end of the day would just be blurred. I was like, okay, which person did I talk to and who did I like? Just blurred. And then when I talk to them again, I'd have to kind of refresh my memory and think. So if you're just starting out, that's my point, what I'm trying to get at here. If you're just starting out and you're trying to like build a system, getting too many customers at once is a really bad thing, because you can't get enough time to kind of build enough systems in place to make sure that you could properly onboard those customers properly, right? So, people are like, oh, it's, must be nice to have this problem. I was like, yeah, it's kind of nice, but it's also very stressful. Okay, talking from experience. So with that, I just hope that you guys kind of understand that you really, really have to be thinking through not only just sort of like your customer acquisition strategy, but you have to be thinking about some of this back-end process thing. But I want to make sure that you understand that it's in stages. The first you're going to do is build your software. Second, what you're going to do is try to like validate it, get some customers, get some feedback, etc. And then only when you've kind of worked through those details and you've kind of mastered that, and you start sort of looking for more proper, let's call them marketing channels or sales channels, then you could start thinking about sort of like coming up with better processes on the back end to kind of handle, the volume. And if you're getting like 4 or 5 leads in a week, you want to start thinking about that process and this thing, right? So yeah. Anyway, at push pull thing, S Nike, are you calling out somebody? Push pull commit. I'm just going through the chat to just make sure I don't miss any single thing here. And it's cool. It's also free, right? Sign at push pull. Yeah. So anyway, like hopefully that's given you some insight and some value on some of the things that you have to think about. Where are my YouTube people? You guys are still around? Yeah. We have some. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Refresh. Hang on. So yeah, so hopefully that's making some sense, and hopefully you're at least understanding some of the things that you have to be thinking about. All right. You want to make sure that you're not. First of all, you want to make sure that you're not overselling yourself, and secondly is that you want to make sure that you kind of have a process that you kind of slowly iterate on, right? Get the feedback, learn from the mistakes. You get too many customers, you get too many, your churn goes too high, you end up spiking, which is what we did. Got tons of customers on the platform, couldn't keep them because the platform wasn't ready, and we started losing customers on the back end. Just like flies, like just all over, just left, right, and center. All right. I remember one of the problems that we had with one customer. This is like, it's like a joke now. It's unbelievable. They came into the platform, and this service material lists. So this list here just keeps a track of, again, it's a project management system. So for contractors, so it literally just kind of keeps track of like itemized list. Think like an invoice, okay? And the customer had like, instead of like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 items, which is what most of our customers had at the time, this customer had like 85. And our list, this very, very basic list, just couldn't handle the volume. It just wasn't designed for it. It didn't have a search feature. You had to keep refreshing it. Like the technology was just crappy, is what I'm saying. And it just caused us pain. And eventually the customer was like, yeah, your software is good. It has some really good features, but it just can't deal with the volume that we were dealing with. So we're out. And I was like, oh, there goes another one. Every week, that was the story of my life. There goes another one, right? But these are growing pains. And I have a record. This is the key. I have a record of every single one of the reasons why our customers left, and every single one of the pain points that our customers, that they had, because it's all documented. A bunch of them in my email still, and so the goal is to go back and fix every single one of them, because you know that if you fix them, your customers will stick around, right? Or at least the next batch of customers that come in won't have those problems. And that's important because the way how, one of the things that I used to think about was like, well, we've already lost a bunch of customers, so our company's ruined. I was like, buddy, like there's like 100+ million companies in the world. How is your company ruined, right? Like you haven't even scratched the surface. There's companies out there that are terrible with their software, and they just last forever, and people still use them. And I'm not going to call any names on this chat, but yeah, there's some bad software out there. So it's something that you just got to kind of think about. Yeah. That being said, our software is kick-ass today, though. I'll tell you that. Any feature that I bring onto this platform, in fact, let me put it this way. I haven't created or imagined a single feature that I built today that didn't come from a customer 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. 90% of the features that come to this platform is we're just building things that customers ask from us years ago that we couldn't build, that we're now building with AI because we have the speed. Right? So the game is you got to stay in the game. And we started out this conversation by talking about the trough of disillusion for the people that don't know, okay? And that, let's see if we can go find that trough of disillusion, right? Working with a client sense of disillusionment, right? You're just in despair. This is the problem, right? Yeah, so you don't want to be here. So let me see what this guy say. It's dangerous to let the public behind the scenes. They're easily disillusioned, and then they are angry with you for it was the illusion they loved. I don't get that. I understand what you're saying, but it's not resonating with me. Anyway, so hopefully you guys gotten some idea. So the point is, you got to get through this. You got to get through this trough of disillusionment. Super important. And once you realize that your entire business model is a cookie cutter of every other business that has been there previously in the past, and so when you're vibe coding something, right, you're not doing any single thing new. You're just putting a different spin on it, and you're gonna have to go through the same path like everybody else, the same growing pains, the same set of challenges, the same, right? Like you start to realize, okay, maybe I should like either listen to this guy or listen to this girl or follow this process, right? Like don't reinvent the wheel. There's no point. And I'm definitely guilty of that. I try to reinvent the wheel on so many different things. All right. So yeah. Any questions? Got a small crowd today, but hopefully you guys are getting value. I'd rather have a small, engaged crowd than a large audience. I say that now, but I don't know. Maybe I might say the opposite later on. Multi-tenant, yes. Okay. Live info doing. So just check in, make sure that all my, like I said, it's one of the hardest things to do is actually keeping up with live and just kind of knowing what people are doing while you're just talking to thin air. So yeah, okay, yeah, we're good. Any questions? So who's building what? Anybody got a website that they want me to look at? We did that last week and that was actually pretty cool. I did a website. I did like 3 or 4 reviews on people's website. If you got a website or you got an app and you want me to take a quick look at it, happy to do that. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do as one of my formats. Every week we're just going to look at 1 or 2 apps, and I'm going to give you my sort of like raw, honest feedback. Oh, shoot, I forgot. I want to go back to that link. My raw, honest feedback about things. So if you got any website, or who's building what? Who's building what? What are you building, Shannon? Are you building anything? An A pot, an M4HD1. Small crowd today, but this is on my TikTok. I don't, what are you guys building? Who's building something? All right. Outside of that, what else can we sort of go through? I've got ideas, but haven't started yet. Okay. Give me one idea that you got top of mind. Let's see if we could dissect it a little bit. And dissect it in a good way. While you do that, I'm going to open up the cheese here. Give me one thing that you're thinking about selling, or try to keep up my energy here. Haven't started. Okay. You know what? And I guess the other question, while you're thinking about, letting me know what you're thinking about. So not much to pull. Not so much for profit, but a fun app to help. Was that Shopaholics? Okay, that sounds fun. So help them buy more stuff, or help them not buy more stuff. So that's kind of an interesting one. Because, if I had to guess, if you're a shopaholic, then I guess your goal is to kind of wean them off of shopping. I would guess. Hopefully, it's not to make them shop more, because we might have to talk about your idea. Got it. So, not buy, but simulate the feeling of buying. Oh, got you. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so like I don't know an example of that, but kind of like this reminds me of no, that would be too critical. Yeah, definitely would be hypocritical. This reminds me of Investopedia. You know Investopedia? You know these guys? So here's what I know about them. I don't use them much, but I've known them about them for a while. So you see here, so their whole thing is about investment, right? And yeah, okay, so you know about them, yeah. So their whole thing is like content investing, right? All that type of stuff. But they have this cool thing, which is a simulator, and you could log in there and you could do like real trades against, like you could basically, it's like practice trading. Right? So the concept is very simple. I actually don't have an account with them. Why don't we sign up right now? Okay. Dwayne on finish. ISED@gmail.com. Okay. Register now. So there we go. So most people don't really know about it. But if you really want to learn about investing, right, you can go to Investopedia, and it's the real stock market. Like, it's not like a fake stock market. It's the real stock market. They give you like credit, and then you could just fake invest in the real stock market. It's like trial stock market, right? And then you get the feeling of like investing without actually putting your real money online. And then only when you do that and you're like, oh, this is cool, I've made money, I could do this for real. Not, right? You go to the real stock market and you just get hammered. but that's kind of the idea. You understand the concept, right? So let me try to get the Gmail access here so we can go in here and see if we could actually play around with it. I've played around with it years ago. It's something that I have on my to-do list. So now you mentioned it, and it kind of just brought back some memories about it, because I've used it in the past. So let me see if we get get the email here. Investopedia, Investopedia. No, is it in my spam? Spam. Okay, I didn't get the email yet, but I'm sure it'll come. And if it does, then we're gonna try to log in, see if we could. Dwayne, did I spell that right? DWAINUN on FINISHED at Gmail. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, I didn't get the email. Anyway, whatever. However, going back to your idea. So now that you have this idea of Investopedia and you're going to do a fun thing, so maybe it is fun, but hear me out for a second. Let's explore the idea for as a concept. Okay, so you do exactly the Investopedia model. What is the model? You have content that focuses on the latest bags, the different item, right? Like you talk about, so content becomes your game where you focus on things that you would buy that you don't have money for. Let's just call it like that, right? Or things that shopaholics want to buy, but they it's like, okay, maybe this would be a nice to have, like a check, a wish list. Okay, and you get them to be able to add these items to their wish list, right? And maybe there's kind of multiple directions that you could go with this. At least is how I'm thinking about it. Direction one would be like a community where people could kind of talk about the different bags or items or whatever it is that they're to kind of add into their cart. So in other words, the commonality of the platform, or let me put it this way, the groups would be around the things that people are interested in. So if you're interested in, I don't know, a Louis Vuitton bag, if that's a thing, I don't know, I'm not a fashion person, and I'm interested in the same bag, we both are grouped together by it, and then that becomes a group chat that we could talk about this bag. I'm just making this up, but I'm trying to give you some ideas, right? Or I can, kind of buy the bag with fake money, and it helps me to kind of regulate my shopping, right? Because I only get so much, maybe a budget of like 200 credits per month. Okay, and I could just buy these fake things, and I don't know, do something like that, right? So okay, so that's what you're thinking about. Okay, so that's cool. So we're on the same page, a similar kind of deal, right? But okay, so here's the business model that I would approach it with. If you can pull this off, then you can do exactly what Investopedia is doing, which is it's content. So you would pair, the content would be like news thing, like, hey, this Louis Vuitton just launched this. I'm saying Louis Vuitton because that's the only thing that I know. I don't have any Louis Vuitton stuff, but it's like Louis Vuitton just launched this, and Lululemon just launched it. Like you could kind of have it sort of like news, which is really just your app is aggregating news from the internet, which is super easy to do, right? It's a very basic AI thing to do, and the interaction would be on, you could buy this, fake buy it into your cart. And then, like I said, the group interaction would be these people interacting with the thing. And so the cool thing is that if you get enough people sort of like fake buying stuff, the site and the traffic becomes valuable. And then advertisers would be interested in it, right? So at the start, you would just basically do exactly this. You do like, just literally do Google AdSense. I don't know if you're familiar with Google AdSense, but literally Google AdSense, the SENCE, right? So Google AdSense is where you sign up to basically get to put ads on your website, right? People go and buy ads all the time, so that you could just think. So that would be a way, like a quick and easy way to kind of get something. There might be some other angles to this, but this is what I would be thinking of right off the top. The good news about it, super easy to start. I say that, as a developer thing, but I genuinely mean that. Why? Because you don't have to create the content. You can get like, so the way how I'd be thinking about this is like you would get your AI agent to go out and pull the articles from different platforms, and then you would have your custom prompt that would train it on a way to just kind of spin the articles differently, or talk about the things that you like about it based on your knowledge, and then post it up as a new article linking back to the original article. So you're not like stealing the article. You're just basically putting your own AI spin on the article to kind of get the traffic, and then from there, you can kind of build an audience around it, right? So it's a food for thought. Like, I'm not saying that it's a concrete sort of business model, but my point is you can turn your fun idea into sort of a business angle, and that's what I'm trying to get you to, right? Like, any single thing that I do, I want to make sure that people are trying to make money from it, right? So yeah, it might start out as a fun project to kind of see if there's interest, but the minute you kind of get a little bit of interest, you want to start twisting it into a business model, so at least you have a long-term play. And the long-term play for sure would be eyeballs on advertising, because, right, if you're interested in a Louis Vuitton bag, you're probably of a certain type of personality, and chances are I could probably sell you something else. So maybe you're not interested in my Louis Vuitton bag because it's too expensive for you, but I probably, if I don't know, if a Louis Vuitton bag, what's a Louis Vuitton bag, like how much does it cost, like $1,500? I don't know, okay? But let's just say the Louis Vuitton bag is too expensive at $1,500. Chances are I could probably sell you a similar looking bag that I could get from I don't know, Temu or Amazon or something for like $200, right? And maybe I could get a commission cut off of that. So that becomes the business model, right? But they're still buying and chatting, and from the user standpoint, their value is that they're building a community of it's a community of people that have similar interests and similar things, but can't necessarily afford it. Like, I'm just trying to use that as a kind of a ballpark, right? So it's just a food for thought, but that's how I'd be thinking about the idea in itself, right? Would you say your community is good place to start as a complete beginner to vibe code this? My community, 100%, like no question about it. Like, I'm literally trying to help people like you to start like with the basics. I'm assuming that you're not technical. But yeah, no, 100%. That's literally what the goal is, right? And if you got questions, just literally just message me and be like, hey, how do I go about doing this? And let's just do a session together, right? That's literally what I'm about on this live stream. It's just guiding and helping people like yourself, right? So, but yeah, no. So to answer your question more in depth, on the vibe coding community, I have a chat. So I have if you're non-technical, very non-technical, but tech savvy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're my audience. Yeah. So you come in here. I got a course here. It's called Foundations 101. It's called How the Web Actually Works, but I think it's the wrong title, to be honest with you. Here, I'll get you the link. And Dwayne School 222 link is right here. So so when you come in, go to this Foundations 101, okay? And this will give you sort of like a rough overview. I'm saying how the internet works, but it's really about how a web application works, okay? I just have the wrong title. I'm not very good at marketing. So as I teach marketing. So anyway, the point is that I'm actually not very good at naming, but the point is you get the idea. They're like 5 minutes, see, 3, 5, 6, 5, 5, 11, 8, right? 5 minutes. It's going to give you enough foundation for you at least to be able to understand what you need to start thinking about from the internet, like a very, very high level, like super high level, okay? And then from there, when you do the Cloudflare Essentials, it's going to at least show you how to at least get a very basic website up and running, okay? 100% free. We're all about free around here, okay? 100% free. There's no money, okay? Absolutely no money, okay? You just come in here, you just come for free. Just go look at the tutorials. The only single thing that is not free is your time, okay? So I can't put a price on that. But you jump in here, you go for free, and you just basically just watch the videos, and it's going to tell you every single thing you need. Like, I'm showing up here, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm literally just like, hey, come into the community. I'll teach you whatever, and then and then ping me, let me know the questions. Why am I doing this? Honestly, because I just want to help and give back. And at some point in time, there's going to be a paid, not community, because I don't want to charge on this community, but there's more advanced stuff that people will want to learn, and then you'll pay me for my time then. But Yeah, 100% free. We're not charging you for any of this stuff. So yeah, so once you do this course here, once you get to the Cloudflare Essentials 101, then and you could get a basic website up, then I can fast track you to get the website up and running, because this will at least get you there. Honestly, this is 2 weekends. Weekend number one for the first course, weekend number two for the second one. That's it. And by weekend, I mean like an afternoon, a Saturday afternoon. Okay, and you're done. Promise you this. And you have my word. And if you go in here and it's like, wow, this is way over my head, message me and I will fix it. That's my commitment to you. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm all about trying to help people build real application super fast. My commitment to you is that if you should be able to get this done in 90 days. That's my commitment to you. Right. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway, hey, I hope you guys have gotten some value. I really, really hope that you have. I think. Hang on. Did anybody else message say what else they're building? I was watching APOT. Just make sure I'm not missing any single thing in the chat. Okay, cool. Had no idea. Interesting. Would you say you're coming to? Yeah, 100%. So tech savvy. Yeah. Okay. Where's the link? I sent you the link. Is this for free? Yes, it's free. Sweet, thanks. Cool, thanks. Yeah, no problem. No problem, Aplot. I'm not technical. I've built a cloud server with an API part of my agent. System effectively runtime API hosting my agent and core orchestration in the cloud. How are you non-technical and you're doing all that stuff? That is the very definition of technical. API, cloud server, agents, core orchestration. ACOL, I have a feeling you're underselling yourself. ACOL 2116. I think you're generally underselling yourself, because some of the questions that you ask me, I'm like, bro, you're technical. But I hear you. There's different degrees of technicality, right? So yeah. Hey, listen, you guys have been awesome to hang out with. I've gotten so much value. I show up here every single week. Every single week I'm here from Friday 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that's because that's the only thing, that's the level of commitment that I could do for this right now. I'm trying to build out a bunch more courses. So even though you don't see me sort of engaging in the community thing, I'm working on a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to be dumping a bunch of stuff inside of there. And like I said, I told APOT already, my goal is to basically take you from like absolute zero to literally being able to launch your first application in 90 days. That's my commitment. Okay. So you're thinking about a 90-day. That's what I want to do. I want to guide you through that process and get you there. And like I said, at some point, you'll turn back and thank me, or you can send me $1 million when you make your first million. Okay. So we take $1 million and up. Listen, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys as always. Listen, we got a small group. Spread the word. If you know anybody that's interested in building stuff and wants to learn about vibe coding or whatever, that's what we do here. 100% free every day, all day long. I appreciate you guys. I gotta go run and pick up my child, my 3-year-old child, who's gonna come and literally turn my world upside down for the next couple of days. We're going to be hanging out together because mommy went on a vacation this weekend. So it's just me and a battlefield. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. You guys have yourself a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys next week. Come hang out in the community, and then we'll talk again soon. Okay, bye bye. End now. Yes. And finish.